is actually going.
I mean, my fellow channels doesn't include you yet, so.
It's going, so here we go. Here's the intro stuff. Oh yeah, this is going to be a great stream.
Warning. Warning. Main bay doors opening. Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. Stream will begin shortly.
Invite sent, Drax.
Thanks. Oh, that was your intro. Oh god, that was loud.
Yeah. It's got to get people's attention.
I have Twitch. It's muted.
Yeah, normally I do as well. It's just sometimes I load it and it's...
It may be some of the settings, like I set all these at volume levels that were kind of correct.
You're running stuff in the background.
But I think they may have gone back to normal again when I was having this trouble.
Dream's going a little slideshow-like.
It's stuttering. Oh, yeah. Hang on. My mining's going. It kind of steals clock cycles from everything. That should help. All right, and then...
There we go. That's running a lot better.
Yeah.
Even the ticker at the bottom was kind of flashing across the screen instead of...
Yeah. It's just the better hash is cooking along. I don't see you in the...
My homepage is still loading.
You're not in game.
Well, technically I am.
There you go, now you are.
First time load.
Oh, you're no longer streaming? Oh no.
Yep, I'm streaming.
It's got you offline, but I'm watching you, so I don't get it.
It's magic. I can appear to not be here and yet still be here. Ghostlands. It's a ghostly story. And this is Halloween. Wow. It's like the planets are aligning.
It's
well,
almost,
it's not Halloween yet, but it's the season.
It's almost spooky.
Yeah, it's spooky how I can do those things. Some people would say it's an apparition and, not real, but I would say it's a sign.
And we're walking.
And we're walking. Okay, there we go. Whose cats are these? Wait a minute.
What?
These are your cats, Ronan?
Yeah.
Look at those.
They're sisters from a litter last year.
But wait, you've got 3?
No, it's just the 2.
What's the sign? What's the one that's gray with the gray face and white?
Hold on a second. Well, the
third
Siamese
picture.
looking one is one, and then the all gray one is the other sister.
Wait, all 3 of these are the same 2 cats?
No, there's only 2 cats.
I see 3 pictures. One with 2 cats, one with 1 cat, and one with 1 cat.
Did you see my text at the bottom of the 3 pictures?
My girl's first picture is a typical seating arrangement when I'm on the couch. Great.
Right, and
but the bottom cat doesn't look like either of the cats in the top picture. Is it just the lighting?
Lighting will do that.
It's just the lighting, yeah. Because the sun was coming in the window for the last picture, and the other one is, I think I had the shades closed or something.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Nonsense. Oh, are you seriously already yawning? I haven't started yawning yet. How are you ahead of me?
Oh, I've just wasted a whole day doing absolutely nothing.
I was going to say, he just woke up.
No, I didn't just wake up. I am actually thinking of having a sleeper.
Congratulations on your wasted day, though. I mean, that's
Procrastinating like crazy, and it's such a beautiful day. It's another beautiful day in Sydney. Like, it's
my motto is procrastinate now.
Yeah.
And don't put off till tomorrow what you could put off today.
Right.
Get right to
driving.
Procrastinating. What are you driving? I'm in my Hellbringer, I think.
Oh, and match.
I had some nice matches last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, several.
Yeah,
Quite a few.
You missed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Were you procrastinating yesterday too?
Well, no, yeah, but different reasons.
Yeah.
We did faction play for a good 3 hours.
I haven't done faction play for so long.
Yeah, well, it was going off. There would have been 3 groups of 12 in the mix. It was just crazy. It was good, really good. And yeah, I consistently get anywhere from sort of 1200 to 1400. So I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
And I get 0 to. I think I got the highest I got was 6 kills, maybe.
Because you can only run so many lights before you have to bring an assault that you're not any good in, right?
Well, actually, that's what I started to do. I started to favour my lights over anything else. But you have to bring one big mech if you're going to do that for the weight minimum.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to get better. So, we got a lot of domination faction play maps yesterday anyway, so it worked out okay.
I miss playing faction play. I enjoyed it.
I wish I was better at it.
Years.
Yeah,
Literal years.
What's that?
Well, it's
Years?
good, Panzer, but I guess it just depends on. Well, I'm lucky because normally when I'm doing it, I only do it as part of Nutty Rat's stream because he drops for 228 and he tries to put together 228 groups. He doesn't exclude his fans, like his people who watch his channel. If you can't fill out with 228, he invites them in. So it's normally a good mix. And sometimes you see some PGI people like Mark turn up.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
He would know better than to let me join, wouldn't he?
I'm not very good at it, so.
And then, like you and me both, that would cost him probably shut him down with the expense of fixing mechs.
Well, Frank and Mittens was dropping with us yesterday, and yeah, I think well, you have to ask him, but I think he had fun. I mean, I think he's done that regularly now with Nutty Rat as well. He drops with him in his faction play drops.
The trouble with faction play, the only trouble is, are the wait times real long still? To get into a match?
Oh, well, it depends on so, like I said, I only really do it now with Nutty Rat, and my Sunday, which is his Saturday
Saturday night, probably.
Strike online.
It goes
There's
well.
a lot of people over here.
Like, it goes well, so.
Well, the only trouble with faction play, I think, for me, is that if you're going to do 3 or 4 drops, it could be 3 hours, right? So it's pretty long time commitment.
Alpha is a boat.
I think I need to adjust my little mouse button here. Yeah, we have a couple people in DHB that are doing it now and then, but not enough when I can do it, so I don't get to drop with them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go, do alone, solo dropping like Pug, and then you get in Pug groups, and it's pretty bad.
Artillery strike online. Target acquired.
All right, obviously,
Last time I did
the action's closer than I am.
I don't know if you're going to recognize the name, but last time I did faction play was when RJ Base was actually still streaming.
I don't recognize that name.
Artillery strike online.
Used to be a very predominant Davian player and used to basically run drops in faction play back when TeamSpeak was the way people communicated for this game.
Yeah.
Always Davian player, and he used to be the coordinator for all the Davian
we can
units.
probably shoot down on that ramp, cross over and shoot down on the ramp.
Got one.
Artillery strike online.
This was also back during the old version of faction play where like you only had one mode, 12v12, and it was like you could get away
What
with
do they have
things
now?
like Spider-Man or spider lines and so on and so forth.
What are spider lines? What do you mean?
Artillery strike online.
As in an entire team of just spiders charging the enemy base and popping the generator and winning, or popping the big turret and winning. He had it down to a science where he knew exactly how much damage it took to actually bring that thing down, and if everybody was running the same mech with the same build, they could do it very efficiently.
Target spotted.
Artillery strike online.
Good kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just kind of walked into that.
Shot in the back.
Going to help with this Marauder, or this Warhammer.
Need help with an Orion.
We held the zone for
I'm here.
25%.
CT, never mind. Nope, who's this? Hello?
Going with a night gear.
New target
Headed that way.
acquired.
Light. Lee.
Halfway there.
ECM. Stealth armor. Around the Annihilator.
Target destroyed.
There we go.
Good kill.
I'm lagged.
You don't need that.
I can't do anything. I'm going back in. Yeah, I think they're more D3 rear, I think. So if you follow the ridgeline behind, you might see more of them.
Did I run out of ammo? I ran out of ammo.
Someone just shoot me now.
Right.
Indigo. Nice.
You guys killed him before I could get a shot.
I know. And I dropped down in front of, in back of somebody who killed him, so I didn't get another shot.
Alpha. Over in your Alpha.
3 left.
Fate Wriggle's still
Alpha's on
alive.
I'm not going to get
Alpha's
there in time to
almost
help, probably.
Well, I know what this mech needs now. More ammo.
The timer, I don't care.
Warriors, you have
Great work, guys.
the target. We are victorious.
GG.
Thanks for the drop. Why is there still a red Cheeto there?
Because we didn't kill them all, we just capped out.
Oh, I see.
Or they
Yeah.
let them-
Hey, Xenos Danforth, welcome. Fire all the lasers. I've got a tough job carrying Drax. I know. I don't know if I'm up to it. Oh, you mean
have
in
to
the
literally-
game? No, he does great in the game.
We have to literally pick him up and put him on our shoulders.
Yeah, because he loses his legs while he's supposed to be fighting. He just like leaves a leg here, leaves a leg there. Pretty soon he's just an upper torso and we have to drag him around the battlefield.
Yeah.
At
Sorry,
least
guys.
he's not
Sorry.
not leaving machine guns all over the place.
I need to add an extra ton of ammo real quick. I ran out of ammo.
Oh, so our Lance.
Well, we got
Yeah, we
6
only
kills.
you only did 6 kills. Yeah.
Only.
Tough life. Oh, that Orion got owned by us. He only did 98 damage. It was probably all to me.
Xenos, how you doing?
I'm gonna take this one.
That always reminds me of our boat anchor. It's a Danforth boat anchor. I know. Strange connection.
Xenos the dad joke person? Is that the one who does all the dad jokes?
Nope. That's Romero.
Oh yeah.
Oh, TK, yeah. TK Romero. Well, if watching me is a good thing, then that's good.
Just a sec, and I'll be ready.
Panzer, how you been? Or you go ahead, go back, go wherever you need to go, then come back and tell me.
Oh, no. What I mean is, I'm just spending some skill points. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I'm good now.
Gosh,
I
my
only had 4 to spend, so
to-do
it's all
list
good.
is getting longer and longer, and I'm only checking off one thing at a time.
We've got a full group there, McFish.
McFish, come on over though, and you can try to sync drop. And if we get more people, we'll start a second group.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not McFish. I'm not going to hang around forever. I'm probably going to do 2 more drops and leave. So you can probably take my spot then if you don't find another group.
So like after you lose your legs again, you're gonna quit, go home, take your mech and go home.
No, it's getting close to dinner, so I have to. I know it's about two more
I
drops
see.
for me.
Gonna throw a hissy fit.
Take your mech and drag it home because it won't be able to walk.
I gotta say, I wasn't
Breaking my
expecting.
toys.
I wasn't expecting to like these hell spawns, but I like this one like a lot.
How big
Which
are
one are
they?
you using?
What's their tonnage?
It's a 45 tonner, so it's a medium.
Oh,
Out of the box, it comes with a XL 270, so it's doing 95 kph.
wait a minute. Your mechs come in
They're quite
boxes?
wide, aren't they? Is that right? Are they a wide mech?
They're kind of boxy looking. They're not super.
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah, they're boxy.
Is that a inner sphere or a clan mech? I forget.
Hellspawn is an inner sphere mech.
Yeah, that's
Right. What's their weakness?
Well, not having that extra ton, or that extra 5 tons of armor.
Yeah, I mean, is it torso or is it
Well, when you get them,
legs? Or...
when I got this one, I had to redistribute all the armor values because when you actually buy them, they don't come with full armor. Especially, well, this one didn't anyway. So I had to move things around to get it all to fit with max armor. But that's about it.
Max armor.
So you really got to pay attention when you buy them and make sure that the armor is distributed the way you want it to. You want it to be. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues.
Howdy, everybody.
I never run default anyway.
Uh-oh. Somebody just made
Box for alarms.
somebody made a bad life choice, I think.
Box for
Currently, I'm
alarms.
running 2 ER medium lasers and 4
Artemis.
MRM 10 packs.
Artemis, you've made a bad life choice. Didn't your mother raise you better than this? Well, congratulations.
Oh, and I'm running.
Thanks for the follow. We'll try to support your bad decisions as much as we can without being held personally responsible for them.
Well, we do have our mental doctor on staff.
Our
He's
mental
actually
doctor.
here right now.
Maybe that's a better thing to call him rather than a mental doctor. We could just call him a doctor who's mental, or a mental doctor's better than an unlicensed or untrained psychiatrist. Because he's none of those. Well, he's the first two, but not the third.
None of those things.
You're unlicensed
about
and
me.
untrained. That's true.
He's
You're not
partially
you're
trained.
Not
Does that
partially
count?
trained.
I
Maybe
mean, why don't you just say I'm a fireman, an unlicensed, untrained fireman, because that
He's-
would be equally true.
he's incompletely trained and unlicensed, and not a psychotherapist.
His certification is in progress.
I will be.
If you turn around and look, this is the hell. This is the Hellspawn.
You will be what?
I will be.
Hello.
Artillery strike.
Yeah, it is boxy.
You will be licensed after you get your degree.
Does that get blown off? Does that? God, that's really quite. That mouse here is really quite. Prominent, isn't it?
Drax, when you get your degree, do you automatically get licensed by
Pretty good though,
the
because it's like
government
it's
at
fast
that
enough
point?
to where I don't really need to worry about it.
It is fast, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
95.
a faster trebuchet. Actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like a drag. Like that area looks like a dragon. Like the torso. Yeah. So when I finish my master's degree, I will then be allowed to join an association
If you see something, lock it up.
and gain insurance, and on that
From where?
basis, I can have a license.
Then would you apply for the license, or is it granted by the state if you've got
I
all
think
the
it's an application,
qualifications?
but I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah.
It's
Like you've got to be part of an association, and part of that it also means you need some insurances. But I don't think it's.
Got him. G5, G6.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it's a big deal.
They're moving left into into A5.
Well, if it's not a big deal, why do they even require you to get your master's degree?
Well, okay, that's a big deal, but
Target spotted.
But that you could get licensed without that, correct?
you can practice without a license.
Yeah. That's true here, I think, too.
Strike
I
F7.
think we talked about this like a year ago or something almost.
Spotted.
I think so. It's getting a bit boring.
I do boring pretty well. I'm fine with boring.
Oh, you're learning, eh?
Baker.
Oh, I love baked goods. Who's firing at me? And from where?
Ow.
I
should go get you some locks, I suppose.
Not me.
Somebody's way
Golf
over
5,
there.
Golf 6, F6. Hello, assault mech.
Target spotted.
He's under the garage.
Oh,
There's no point moving him.
Arm's gone. I'm gone. Awesome.
don't be gone yet. Was it an awesome
late.
that killed you?
No, it's a blood
Oh.
asp that killed me.
Oh,
Lock it
Guys,
up.
run
Lock
in.
it up.
okay. I'm out here where I shouldn't be. This is so bad.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I
there?
thought
Yeah.
we were over here more. I didn't check my mini map. I saw I'm hung
Can
up
you
on
see
something.
the blood asp now? He's under the garage though.
I was going to come over here and peek down at those assaults coming across the way, and
Online.
like that annihilator.
Target spotted.
I keep running into things like other mechs.
Target spotted.
I think I'm going to go over here. Ooh, nice purple
Probably
paint
stop
job
it.
there. Like your purple Marauder.
It's very cute.
I'm hoping the enemy sees you first, but I do like your paint job. Just not seeing things to shoot. Oh, there we go.
Ow.
That was just your
I thought that
leg.
was you.
Just your leg. I pulled it. You barely got any touch on it.
Joker's on the hill.
So Drax, that's the weakness of this mech. If it gets caught out in the open and surrounded, it's kind of over.
You get some limbs on this blood asp, please.
As soon as I find out which one he
Artillery
is.
strike.
There he is.
Charlie.
Oops, that wasn't quite high enough.
Nope, I can't now. Hello?
Base is being captured.
Okay. That's the way it goes.
Did you guys kill the guy that was behind there? What's down here? Here you are.
He's right underneath you.
So yeah, Drax, that's the weakness of the hellspawn. If it gets caught out in the open, it's kind of over.
Am.
But that's the same with your fire starter too, so it's not that bad.
Crossing.
I'd made the decision to leave, and then I saw the king crab, and then of course they gave the option to blood asp to shoot me. But our team, I don't know, it didn't seem to be very
Target
aggressive this
destroyed.
time.
Yeah, they.
Yeah.
Right torso critical
I think I
damage.
just
And
got
they-
friendly
Large
fired.
pulse laser destroyed.
I think everybody was just waiting for everybody else to be aggressive, and it didn't
Center
work.
torso critical damage.
Yeah, but I also wonder if they've got the weight on their side, because
Oh, I'm dead.
everything I was attacking was basically an assault. I don't know. We'll look at that overview when it's finished.
This dual Gauss stealth fanny only really
This
works if
blood
you
asp
actually
is
hit them.
still up. My God.
This blood
So Dan Xenos wants to know, Drax, do you practice psychotherapy on your unit mates
No.
to help them be less toxic? He's thinking.
No, you can't have dual relationships. It's very dangerous to have dual relationships. So you wouldn't do that.
Because then the psychos know where you live. So you don't want that.
No, because there's issues of, well, it's unethical. There's issues of power that comes into it, and a whole range of things that can come into it. Yeah,
Would they
it's
be?
dangerous around.
We're
Would
waiting
they
Right
be
now, I
lo-
feel like it's more
on-
dangerous to be around Dark Marauder.
I know.
because
I know.
they
Would
keep on
those issues be long range or short range issues?
They're all
In this
on
case,
the
there
other
was
side.
short range issues because it was a blood asp that I decided to take
That's
on
right.
by
You can
myself.
keep going left.
No, I don't do that.
No, I'm not.
It's dangerous to be around 228. Yeah. All powerful.
I'm one of the,
powerful.
I'm one of the average players in 228, to be honest. I mean, I do fine in a light, but
So you use a
certainly
light touch to
people-
manipulate their thoughts and stuff. Is what you're saying? You can't be obviously, leading them.
Right
I feel
torso
like
destroyed.
there's two different conversations happening.
The question, Drax, is that once you learn all of
Keep
these
the mountains at your
secret
back.
psychological powers
that's
that your
good.
education is going to equip you with. How do you?
It's really-
How do
No,
you keep
I'm not
from,
learning to be a Jedi Knight. I think you guys are confused.
How do you keep from using them, even subconsciously? How do you guard against that? I don't think a regular
Here's the
person
thing.
could.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't think psychology. Like, it was interesting when decades ago when I was doing my psych degree, I told someone I was doing psych, and the look you got was like, "Oh, he's about to read my mind." No,
Oh my gosh.
we can't read your mind.
Are you sure?
You
That
can't even
doesn't
read your
happen.
own mind half the time, right? Let alone somebody
There are
else's.
some things that people will claim to be able to predict behavior, but unless they know you, that's utter garbage. It's as effective as turning the paper and reading the star section, the horoscope section, or taking a deck of cards and saying, "Oh, look, I'm reading my future with tarot cards." Like, it's just as effective. I won't say that it's
In that it's
completely
not
nonsense. I won't say it's complete nonsense. You might be tapping into something, but you're not a mind reader. You're not a Jedi Knight or something nonsense.
So Xenos, what he's doing right now, this is actually a technique to reduce your anxiety of listening to him or being afraid of him. Helps you let your guard down so he can get in more easily.
Honestly, the best tool anybody has for anything like this, psychology student or not, is your intuition.
Some people have pretty messed up intuition. Like, I've seen people come up with intuition ideas that are totally off the wall, but they're totally convinced it's right. So that can be a two-edged sword.
I never said you had. I never said that people's intuition is always good or correct.
Okay.
But with a strong sense of intuition and listening, and a strong ability to listen to what people are actually saying and watch what they're doing, you can
Glean a
figure
lot
stuff out
more.
pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it depends what we're talking about now. Like, I think we're talking about. There's a nuance to this conversation that if you're talking about psychotherapy, then I'd say that intuition could actually serve you incorrectly in psychotherapy. But if we're talking about something else, yeah, possibly. I'm just not sure what we're talking about. So one thing that happens as you're learning psychotherapy or counseling is that one of the mistakes and pitfalls is that you make it about the conversation about what you want to find out, which can often be driven by an intuition for something. And that's misguided in psychotherapy, because actually the work is done by the client, and the conversation that the counselor is having is certainly sometimes directed or led, but it's in the service of the client's experience. It sounds kind of woo-woo, I know, but
Well, so like would
say
this
you
be an
reveal
example,
something to me.
Drax? I hate to
Let's say
interrupt,
you
but
reveal
would this
something
be an example? Like, how would you get someone to talk about or work through the problem of readying up? Oh, you just did. Never mind.
In the first place.
Without
well,
embarrassing
I've done
them.
that. So, but let's say someone has just revealed something about themselves that, as a society, we know is uniquely private and may have may invoke suffering, like may invoke some sense of like, wow, that's really heavy, that's really suffering. Wow, that's deep. Oh my God, you're really bad about that. The questions that I might then ask from that will be leading questions, which is quite often the wrong way to go, because it's more about the psychologist or psychotherapy wanting to find out than it is about what the client wants to tell or reveal. So typically the better way to approach that is to empathize with the emotion that client's feeling and see if anything more gets revealed from that, because it's not the psychotherapist or the counselor's journey, it's the client's journey. What ultimately the relationship's trying to create is a safe place in which the client experiences their emotions, and depending on the model you're using, like if it's a psychodynamic theory, where they really start to be aware of the transference or the things that they rerun in their life with people, and the emotions that creates, and often it's to do with past things. That's a psychodynamic thing. But why I was saying this, Panzer, is that if you're leading with your intuition, sometimes that intuition is not truly intuition. It's more
I guess deductive
What
reasoning.
of as interest to the psychotherapist, which is kind of a pitfall. That's what we were talking about. But you might have been inferring something else.
Well, it could be
I
deductive
guess,
reasoning,
I guess
Panzer,
intuition is a better.
but it could.
I guess
Go ahead.
intuition is the wrong word to use in this particular case. I was more. Okay,
It could be.
from
It
my
could be
personal
deduction.
perspective, as a person who has no training in the field that you study at all.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, neither does he yet.
When I'm talking to people and when I'm talking to my family and friends and so on and so forth, when I'm talking to them and they're telling me things that are going on in their life that they're struggling with and stuff like that, usually I can kind of figure out what they're not saying before they say it.
Yeah. And that in terms of friendship or just a social conversation, that will often serve people well to forward a conversation. But in the service of, say, therapy,
It's a different deal
that may or may not help. That may or may not help. But
hey, Mechs,
you're right. You can
actually
infer
did
things
manage
by
that.
what's not being like the things that aren't being said. You have a listening for that, and you'll make that mean stuff that will obviously serve you in the conversation. And that's absolutely, that happens all the time in friendships and people when they're sharing intimate things with people. Absolutely. But in the service of psychotherapy, all I was pointing out was that
Sensors
that
online. Weapons
assuming can get you into a lot of trouble. So you have to, as a psychotherapist, be wary that that's what's coming up for you as a therapist. But in actual fact, don't be so sure that that's what's actually happening to the client.
Well, and that's because probably it's really easy to interpret whatever they're saying through your own lens of your own experience.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And I'm sure you would have encountered that plenty of times as a pastor.
Yeah.
Or even as a counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so wait, did you get your degree initially in psychology?
So I did an undergrad in psychology when I got out of high school, which was like 27 years ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't go on to get my honours because I was pretty clear I didn't want to become a clinical psychologist.
Raven.
You're clear you were what?
I did not want to become a clinical psychologist.
Oh.
And there wasn't really any other avenues that I understood to become a psychotherapist at that time.
Yeah.
I think I was just burnt out with you.
Raven moved into Charlie 4.
However, now it would have made sense if I'd actually done that because it would have served.
Well, if you'd thought about it
Bunker
then,
and
about maybe
Equity.
becoming a counselor, you would have maybe, or did you even think you would have liked to have done that back then?
I tried.
And White Mac in Echo 3.
Because you want to do counseling now, you don't want to be a
I
psychologist.
started a counselling. I did start a counselling course, and I really got scared off. I was 19, was in my first unit of it, had a 56-year-old, and we had to do a mock session,
arm critical
and I
damage.
realised I had nothing I could contribute to this person. I didn't understand the dynamics of what really counselling was about.
Yeah.
I was just thrown into the deep end of a mock session, and it scared me shitless, to be quite frank. So
interesting.
That's honestly what happened. And so I said, no, this isn't for me. And I guess, I did other things with my life, and I was happy I did those things. But looking back on it, I would be so far, I'd be so much more further in my career as a counsellor if I'd actually stuck and become a psychologist.
So do you think it was
I
like
have that regret?
Like that could have been a better first experience, maybe in a different way?
Well, I noticed with the kids that I'm in the unit with now, because there are some kids who've done their undergrad and just going straight into doing a master's in counselling instead of going on to do their honours in psychology, for example. Although most of them seem to be people who make their honours grade, so they're stuck with doing a master's in counselling, I think. I noticed there's a level of immaturity and lack of wisdom. I'm not saying they're all immature, and I'm not saying they're not competent counsellors, but I'm glad I've got the life experiences I do.
Sure.
It definitely is going to serve me well in this profession.
It's hard to have both, sadly.
Yeah. And I still do regret not kind of getting that honours. It would have been so much easier. Because one of the things that happens is in Australia, there's only a few people
Heat sink
who
destroyed.
claim Medicare, which is the sort of the government-funded options, and as a counsellor, I won't be able to do that. So
I'm narked. There's
only
people
nurses,
behind us.
Target spotted.
psychologists, and
Yeah, somebody was shooting me in the back a minute ago.
got the high ground.
Insert Star Wars
Artillery
jokes here.
strike
Target
online.
spotted.
Anakin.
I'm just smoking mess here. Oh, there you are.
Don't run off. Don't run off.
I'm just looking for this guy who's shooting us in the back.
There. Yeah.
Target spotted.
We should at least get on the same level as them so that you're not disadvantaged
Artillery
with
strike
a
online.
lower altitude.
Target destroyed. Left arm
You have
destroyed.
some, yeah, there's
Tell-
somebody on the same level as you down there. Oh, it's that Timberwolf.
Yeah.
Heat level critical. Artillery strike
Target spotted.
activated.
Okay. I gotta get off this plateau. Get wrecked.
Heat
Target
level
spotted.
critical. Target acquired.
I'm gonna die up here. I don't have any cover, and I'm shut down.
Right torso
Yeah.
critical damage.
That's why
Yeah, I
jumped
know.
down
I'm just
off.
trying to get.
Critical.
See
Target
Heat sink
spotted.
destroyed.
if I can
No,
last
not
just a
punch
little bit
post.
longer.
Torso destroyed. Right arm destroyed.
There's more guys down here. I didn't want to stay up on
Large
top.
pulse laser destroyed.
Ouch! Ooh, that hurt. That hurt a lot.
Warning incoming missile.
Oh, McFish is going to share another bad match with us.
Oh, nice.
Are you?
What?
Did you record it?
Wait, a bad. Oh, is this one over a year old or younger or?
Left arm critical
Hello?
damage.
Target spotted.
Hello.
Target spotted.
Oh, that was my reaction to
New
getting shot in
target
the back.
acquired. Left torso destroyed.
Xenos is asking. I don't know if you saw this, Drax. Are you still in match? Drax, are you dead?
Yeah, I'm just responding to it now. Zenos, if you're still there, no. Again, it really depends on the model of therapy that the person's trained in, but this idea that I think clients come with the idea that there's something wrong with them, which is why they're there, and therefore, as a therapist, you're going to figure that out and tell them what's wrong with them. That's not what a therapist does, or that's not ultimately what a therapist should be doing. But
Heat sink destroyed.
so, and there is a distinction between counselling and psychotherapy. So, a counsellor may be working with a client on a problem, i.e., what's wrong. So, for example, I'm afraid of driving downhill. I get a phobia.
I'm
anxiety
de-gunned,
of
I've got
doing
no
that.
guns left, they created them all out.
Target
So
spotted.
the what's wrong is that
Implication has no guns either.
Target acquired.
Or more
so
practically,
you could
might
say
be
yes.
I have an anger management
Got an
problem.
artillery strike
I'm
left.
angry at people. I lash out at them.
New target acquired.
Yeah, but psychotherapy is dealing with a lot a deeper issue, which is more to do with actual personality or personality change, and that isn't about what's wrong. So, for example, I'll just say something openly to you. It's something that I've realised about myself, and I wasn't either giving credit to it or I was just oblivious about it. Is my parents divorced when I was 3. And because I'm studying psychodynamic theory at present, it got me really in touch with something that I never recognized as an issue. I knew it was an issue for my sisters, I've got 2, but for myself I never realized, and that is I never actually dealt with the trauma of my parents' divorce. And because I was 3.
Target destroyed. New target acquired.
And how would you deal with that right at 3?
Yeah, but the thing about that is that there would have been some trauma, absolutely some emotional stuff that would have been going on with me, and I kind of disconnected from all of that. I mean, there's a biology or science behind this. It's to do with the formation of implicit and explicit memory. So, implicit memory is things like the things that your body does and that you do, process stuff, and the explicit memory is more like the formation of memories and experiences and of being able to talk about those experiences. At 3, those things are developing. Explicit memory is beginning to develop, and implicit memory is already developed, but it's still developing. And so trauma can interfere with that, which is why a lot of people who experience some kind of trauma, i.e. the separation, divorce, for example, of your caregivers, you can have reactions to that and no memory of it. And that's what I have. I really don't remember much of my experiences from like 3 or 4 down. I have like maybe a couple. But one of the telltale signs is that children will be really good at regulating, especially in divorced couples. They'll, when they split off and they only one caregiver, they tend to start to regulate the emotions of their caregiver. So if their caregiver's upset, like my mother, I'll never forget it. She was in the lounge room crying, really upset, and I'd woken up to get a glass of milk, and I'd come out, and I was just comforting her by saying, "There, don't, it's okay." And I was just really upset that she was upset. That's an example of what a child will do to regulate their caregiver's behaviour. My sister, for example, was a drama queen, so she became the problem, so that there wasn't other problems, so to speak. I mean, this is all a bit woo-woo, I know, but that's the way.
No, it's pretty typical. Actually, it's not really woo-woo. It's pretty common.
So these are the things we'll do as children because of an experience that we have we're no longer really connected to. I mean, I wasn't. My sister's actually quite bitter about my father, but I have a good relationship with my father. So it's not that that's a problem. Like, I don't blame my parents for screwing me up. I don't think I'm screwed up. I have things I'd like to have a better life about, but I don't blame my parents' divorce for that. I'm glad they got divorced because they would not have been a good marriage, knowing what I know about them now as an adult. But in therapy, you don't go in there saying, well, there's something wrong with you. And I don't want to go into therapy blaming my parents. It's about connecting with the emotions that I haven't dealt with as a child. And just experiencing those things.
How would you feel as a child about readying up?
That's where I was going to. Okay.
I really got to stop this. I got to stop this conversation. I get too plugged into it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We enjoy the opportunity to make a joke.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Here's your daily dose of psychotherapy 101.
It's great.
Yeah, I'll
it's totally fine.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's okay.
Actually, because I had. Don't cut it out because I had something to ask you about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, first off, you don't have to stop. Just remember to do the little things like readying up.
Well, this will be my last job anyway. But yeah, okay. The McFish can come in.
But anyway, I kind of not necessarily wanted to ask you something, but more or less wanted to empathize, essentially.
Yeah.
Because situations are a little bit different, but my family hasn't exactly been the best in terms of intermingling with each other, as you might put it. My mother and father, they were married for, let's say, 10 years-ish, and they were doing fine for the most part. My dad's he is a jerk, like 100%. Like, there is no doubt about it, and he will fully admit to it himself. He was not the most pleasant person to be around, and still isn't. Both are still around. Both are still involved in my life, but neither are connected to the other one, and both have their opinions about the other one that isn't exactly pleasant. My dad, though, is always been the type of person who is oppressive. He has to be in control of everything, no matter what. That's just his way of doing things. He's right. He's the boss. Even when he's 100% wrong, he's right. Now, the reason I bring it up, when I was 17, my mom and dad split up. And the way it split up was bad. My mom and my dad were fighting in the kitchen. I had been grounded, so I was upstairs, and I was hearing the argument through the floorboard because my dad's loud. I come down the stairs, and they're arguing back and forth in the middle of the kitchen, and I'm completely okay with talking about this on stream in front of everybody because it's already happened. It's not like it's going to change anything. But my dad had been cheating on my mother, told her about it that day. They were arguing about it, and he said that he was leaving. And my mom tried to convince him to stay, and so on and so forth, but ultimately it boiled down to him walking out the door, getting into the woman that he was cheating on my mother with's car, and leaving. Me as a 17-year-old kid, I'm the only person and I'm the only other kid in the house. I'm the only other person in the house, so I'm stuck to deal with my mom, who's in hysterics, my own emotions, which I have no control over whatsoever because ADHD, Asperger's syndrome, so on and so forth. I defaulted to take care of mom. That was my first initial response. That was gut reaction. I sat with my mom for 6, 7, 8 hours, just letting her get her emotions out. Next day, mom hadn't slept. I had slept very little because 17, I don't know what's going on. Everything's kind of flipped upside down. Called my grandmother very first thing and said, you need to either get here or talk to mom now. Dad left, mom's indisposed, and I have no idea what to do.
You were in high school at the time, right?
Yeah, so for 2 days, I was left to deal with my mom and my own emotions on everything that was going on. My sister, thankfully, wasn't home when things happened. But she came home the third day after everything had happened, and we had to explain it to her. She initially didn't have a reaction, and I don't know why, but her not having a reaction upset me a lot. Because it felt to me like I didn't allow myself to have a reaction for the sake of my mother.
Artillery strike
And
online.
my sister not having a reaction at all bothered me a lot.
That's tough.
Something that I've seen in my past is that when people hit a certain threshold as far as emotional trauma or whatever, they just shut down completely, or they shut off that particular portion of whatever it is that's going on. I haven't experienced it personally, but I've seen it with other people.
But now I understand what was going on with my sister a little bit more because I'm 29 years old now. I've been around a little bit and experienced some trauma of my own and stuff that I caused or has happened regardless, and it's one of those things where I didn't understand it then, but I kind of get it and get it now. My sister is
quite a few of them, 7%.
Very different in terms of how she reacts to things in her life than I am. My first initial reaction to anything bad going on is fix it. Deal with your emotions later. And her reaction is a little bit similar, but she just refuses to deal with her emotions until it gets to the point where they start to consume her.
I see you hiding in that little crack in the hillside.
Me?
Yeah.
Target spotted.
Why me?
I don't mean to bring the room down, but I just kind of wanted to relate a little bit.
No, that's okay. I think part of us we're in
appreciate your
battle too, and we've
honesty.
just been listening.
Hans, I really appreciate your honesty. It's refreshing. It's, you know.
Sorry about the...
New target
Fafner on our
acquired.
left flank and I-5.
Spotted.
Sorry, yeah, I-5.
A good start. Keep holding the resource
Ooh, a
point,
catapult
warriors.
with rocket launcher pods. That sounds devastating.
Target acquired.
Target spotted.
Help with Delta, please.
Ow, 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 ow.
Moving
Delta,
to engage
Delta.
Delta. Moving to engage Delta. Actually, hotel is priority.
Oh wow, there's a few here.
New target
Have they got
acquired.
oversight on the Crescent A6? Let me put some UAVs up.
I don't think I can get over there to...
No, they don't.
Help with that.
Perfect. I'm going after Delta.
They got people on the ridgeline behind you, though.
And Delta just killed. No, Hotel just killed me. I walked into a Fafnir. Oh, that was terrible.
New target
All right,
acquired.
that does me. McFish, if you want my spot, you're welcome to come in and take it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I
But
don't know really how to. I don't know how to explain where I was going with telling that story, other than just kind of trying to relate.
No, it's fine. You're just sharing that life. That's
Hey,
good.
I mean, you connected with something I said and
Yeah.
wanted to share that, man. That's no problem. So it's good. I mean, the one thing I've been learning about doing this masters. 'Cause look, I came into this masters thinking emotions that they get in the way. I mean, unless they've got utility, I really don't care about them. And
New
after
target
doing it now
acquired.
for 2 years, it's like you start
India?
to really connect with it's actually really important.
Heat
They are really
level
important
critical.
to
Target
express and
destroyed.
to unblock stuff that you carry.
Target spotted.
Yeah, but even to this day, I'm still the type of person where when things happen, my initial gut reaction is fix it, deal with my emotions later. The problem is
Sure.
Target
things
acquired.
Hotel's
just keep
still alive.
coming up to where it gets to the point where I just can't deal with them because there's just so much going on that I don't have time.
Yeah.
Do you guys need help with
that's-
hotel still?
It's not untypical of
Affirmative.
how I would have.
Okay, we got 2 assaults up on the ridge that are in the wide open. We should shoot them. I can't get them by myself.
Critical
So I appreciate you sharing. Anyway, I'm out of here, McFish. You're welcome to come and take the spot.
Destroyed.
As always, Dark, thanks.
Yeah,
having
thanks for
me.
dropping in.
Lonely, and you guys have got to maybe just put a break on my oversharing. But you guys started, by the way. You always freaking start with the teasing.
We can't help
So
it.
then eventually,
Dark Marauder's
And
teasing
like I
stream.
Like I said, you don't have to stop, just remember the little things.
That's the most childish thing I think I have ever heard you do, Drax.
I'm connecting with my 3-year-old son. All right, see you
Blow
guys
that
later.
I know, and he's done it like
Yeah,
3
see you
times, so
later.
he's on to something. Good night.
He's already gone.
Foes are halfway to victory.
Heat level
Okay.
critical.
I don't have much ammo left for my missiles. Ow. I have half
Heat level
a salvo
critical.
left.
Are we
Oh.
losing?
And the target I shot at died before I could do anything.
We're
On
winning,
point,
yes.
no.
Heat level critical.
Juliet
We're
Atlas.
winning on points and kills.
Heat level critical. Artillery strike online.
There we go.
Now we're talking.
Oh, hello, Missed Lynx. Oh, this guy was on our team last
Acquired.
round.
Heat level critical.
Well, we should
Go
kill
ahead.
him extra then.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Where's the sniper? Oh, here he is, up here.
Heat sink destroyed.
Uh-oh, somebody's on my back.
Which sniper?
It's that little... He's up
The
on
Missed
top.
Lynx.
Yeah,
I see him.
I can't hit him.
And we got a fire starter behind us. all, too.
Target destroyed.
Got him.
This link's dropping down in the middle.
Critical damage.
We've collected 75% of the
destroyed.
resources.
Left
Golf
arm
Stalker
destroyed.
lost his left side, and now his right side, and now he's gone.
Is that guy up on,
Shut
on
down.
top still?
Oh no! Bad timing. Ow, 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 ow. Stop that. Okay. cool
Who's
down.
shooting me
Lynx
from
didn't
behind?
Stop. He's just running away to do it from a different angle.
Yeah. Going for his legs.
Sorry about the
Ow.
friendly.
Point Epsilon
That was me.
is ours.
Legged him.
That wasn't very
Critical.
nice.
I legged him.
Target acquired.
So slow. Come on.
It wasn't nice, but I was trying to kill something.
Target destroyed.
Alright. There's one down. So we got
So we
one
got a
more.
sniper
There's
way
one-
up.
He's
On the
sniping
hill.
from H5.
He's jumping
sniping
down.
from H5. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go grab Kappa. No, I don't need to. Never mind.
Yeah, you guys are perfect on caps. There's no way he could win by caps or kills.
Well,
Heat level
unless we
critical.
seriously screw up our
Target
piloting,
acquired.
but yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen. That's a rifleman.
Heat level critical.
Yeah, he's out of luck. Even if we don't kill him, he already lost. Just like that.
Great work, guys. Thanks for the drop.
Is ours.
That's why I like playing Conquest. You get that extra 75,000 C-bills for a win.
Leisurely Sniper did 30 damage? Seriously? That's so embarrassing. You belong here with me. Ooh, 796. No kills, though. Our Lance did pretty well, didn't we?
Yeah, I got 5 assists, 142 damage.
Nice.
Who did?
Not bad for basically
30
an
damage.
unskilled mech.
Excuse me.
I don't know.
McFish, are you coming over? Because I got a spot for you.
And the other side of that story that I just told is I had to deal with all of that on my own because my family has never been very spiritual. I've never had anybody to really turn to talk about my the things that I needed to get off my chest. I mean, I had a couple of people, but they either moved away or passed away, or things have happened where it just isn't viable for me to do that anymore. Now, I have no one. I am reliant on me. Period.
Well, feel free to contact me offline anytime. I offer no good advice, but maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to listen. I've got lots of life experience and that kind of stuff. One of the things I can promise you is that I don't, like, some pastors are great counselors just because of, like you said, there's some personality and intuition there and stuff, but the best ones are very helpful, but then they know when it's outside of their bailiwick and they say, yeah, you need to go see a professional for this because I'm not going to be able to help you with this. And and that's him. And we can't go to Draxet because he's not licensed nor fully trained. But you could.
And I also don't have the money to pay him.
He may not be legal either. I mean, he might not even be a Australian citizen. We don't know. We've never checked his papers, right?
Isn't he a New Zealander?
No, he's an Aussie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
Mittens.
So
Mittens is a New Zealander.
I'm looking on McFish.
No, I'm looking. Oh, he said to send him an invite. Oh,
Yeah,
next
send him
one.
an
Okay.
invite, but he's starting the match. So
All right, I was looking over there for him. But no, seriously, Cody, if you ever want to just chat, I'm happy to be available for that. And I've certainly done lots of listening and counseling over the years, and I consider myself a good family counseling kind of resource and teens and marriage and stuff like that, and raising teens and being a teen and all that kind of stuff. And haven't done it for a long time, so you know it could be a disaster, so do it at your own risk, but I'm available is all I'm saying if you want to talk.
I mean, I'd take you up on that, and it's not like I'm not doing okay, I guess, on my own. It's just one of those things where even if I wanted to have the option to talk to somebody, that's not really an option for me at this point anyway.
Well, it is now officially if you want. And I could probably also tell you, like after talking to you, I can say, well, yeah, this is something you can probably work through on your own doing these sorts of things, but these other things might be things that you want to get more professional help with, right? Which would be good to know. And maybe you don't need any of that. Don't know. It's interesting to me, like my wife she went through a really, really hard time when she was leading a nonprofit and she had a rogue board, and it just was really, really stressful for her and caused her to have all sorts of anxiety that she still isn't over yet completely, but it was so bad she passed out while driving on the freeway. And fortunately, she started to feel weird enough that she pulled over. And as she was pulling over, she passed out on the side of the road with the car still going 20 miles an hour. And I was able to, get my foot over and put the brake on.
Yeah.
What's really scary?
Yeah.
My wife has POTS, and she has done that before, but she felt it coming on, and she came to a complete stop on the side of the road before she passed out.
It's just terrible. It's like, oh my gosh, it could happen when they're driving somewhere.
And somebody pulled over and looked in on her in the car, and then called the fire department because she wasn't responding. Obviously, she passed out.
Yeah.
And woke up to the fireman doting over her in the car.
Which is most women's dream anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot less glamorous than the dream, though.
I got a better story for that then.
But she had my son in the car at the time too, so it was a little freaking out.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, a lot less glamorous.
Yep. Wow. Anyway, she went to a professional counselor for a couple of years to help work through a lot of that stuff. And I'm her husband, and I'm a counselor in most regards, but I'm not I'm neither trained nor licensed. I'm just a pastor, and you kind of end up doing a lot of counseling as a pastor. And it's not true. I'm not completely untrained. I took courses and stuff, but I don't consider myself a counselor. I consider myself a pastor, and so the kind of counseling that I do is different than what a lot of counseling might end up being. And I know that, right? So I don't want to go down that road with somebody with the wrong ideas.
A pastor is a church leader and a counselor in one. I mean, I would imagine they would have to have that at least.
You would be amazed at how many. I wouldn't say, a lot of them do. Granted, but I worked for a guy who was a senior pastor that was an administrator and wanted to be a senior pastor, and he hated counseling, and so much so. I'll give you an example. I mean, the guy was pretty messed up anyway, so we could go down that road and find out what a mess his family was. But he would only take counseling appointments 1 day a week, and only for the afternoon. And if you had something that was an emergency, like one day somebody came on a Wednesday and he had some arrangement. He was working on his doctoral thesis. So he had some arrangement with the council that when they hired him, he would be able to work at home on his thesis for 1 or 2 days a week until it was done, which I think, that's fine if they want to make a deal like that, but 2 days a week seems like a lot for that. But anyway, he was home on a Wednesday, and this guy in the church came and knocked on his door in the afternoon and was pounding on the door and said, he opened it up and he said, hello. And he said, you got to help me. My wife has locked me out of the house, and she has my fully automatic machine gun, and she's saying she'll kill me if I come in. What do I do? I need help. And he said, well, it's my nap time. You'll have to make an appointment on Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
so
calls
this
down for immediate dismissal of employment, period.
I was like, when I heard this story, and I worked for this guy, and this is a true story. He was a mess when it came to dealing with emotions and difficult communication situations and stuff like that, because he was broken emotionally. And we went over to dinner to his house one night, and his wife came around the table. She'd made this steak dinner and stuff for us. We sat down at the table, and she dished up his plate and came around behind him and cut his meat for him into nice bite-sized little pieces on his plate. Then she went and sat back down at her place. He grew up in a really rich household where they had servants that cut his meat for him.
What?
Yeah, it was like shocking. It was like, holy stinking cow.
So his wife took over that role? What the heck?
At least at dinner time. And she was the nicest person. And she seemed very normal. He was just a really broken person in a lot of ways.
The C3 line looks like it's completely clear, like the side of the map. It looks like they're pushing the other side where you guys are.
And the question is, how did he get to be a senior pastor, right?
You're either dead ahead of you or look left.
Well, I mean, some people are really good at hiding stuff like that.
Well, and the council didn't know what questions to ask when they were doing interviews, because they were just people. They didn't know how to pick a pastor.
Yeah.
And he looked good on paper because he'd written a book. It wasn't a very good book either. Yes, I read it.
I mean, it makes sense. They're too far away, Dark. Stop using your medium laser.
I can't help it. They just fire. I just fire up because they're connected to this. I don't want another button group.
I guess
My long ones won't reach there either, but I don't care. I was just checking to see if I could hit him at all.
They're wrapping around behind Echo 4. At least glance. Assault in Echo 5, you're isolated and they're coming right at you.
Target
he's
spotted.
AFK, or he was.
You talking about the Sun Spider?
Yep.
Oh, no, it's
All right, bro, there,
No,
What's
Cyclops.
that dragon heading
Cyclops.
down that alley as well? Be careful.
So we have him coming down here, the E4 area.
Low Sig, Echo 4, Delta 4.
just ran through to Echo 3. I think they're backing up. At least those guys are.
Fafnir, Echo 4, Delta 4 corner.
New target acquired.
Yep. On it.
I can't get the dragon.
Gonna call airstrike back there.
Okay, we got him down underneath the bridge.
Yep, see him.
They're all down in Echo 3, Echo 4.
Target spotted.
Hi. Yeah, look at me. Look at me. Over here. Stop looking at the other guy. Oh, it's bad.
Yep, Fafnir's
Nope.
dead.
Never mind.
Got him.
Fire starter and something behind us over there in front of the D2, D3 guys.
Oh, I almost got the back shot on him.
Reinforcements at 75%.
2 kills.
Show me that butt again. There you go. Marauder's open in the back. H is open in the back.
New target acquired.
I guess I should have just said hotel or something.
Lights here,
Oh,
Echo
oh,
3,
oh,
Delta
oh.
2. Delta
Yep.
3.
Destroyed.
I didn't go down here on purpose. It was an accident, kind of operator error.
Target spotted. Target acquired.
Lima, Atlas.
There's a dragon over here too.
Heat level.
Error between chair and keyboard.
Torso critical damage.
UAV's up, I'll take it out.
Left torso critical
No one's helping
damage.
me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have gone down that far. It was an accident. Accident waiting to happen.
Atlas died.
Kind of over here on
Heat
my
level critical. Right torso destroyed.
For some reason they're ignoring me.
Started to chip away at us. Stay frosty.
Hi, I'm back. I keep picking on that one Madcat Mark II.
I cooked the Herbie.
Did you miss me?
New target.
He keeps turning around to fight the main
Right
force, and then I
arm
poke him a couple of
destroyed.
times in the back and he turns around.
LB-10 ammo destroyed. LB-10 destroyed.
Come on, get him to move over a little bit more. There we go.
Center torso critical damage.
There we go.
New target acquired.
Sorry, Sun Spider. I thought I was clear.
Ammo
Going in.
25%.
Oh, 2 in a row.
Torso
Nice.
critical damage.
Going to Delta 5.
Yep, I'm moving over there to intercept.
Got a big surprise when he comes over that ridge.
Artillery strike.
There's a bunch of us down here in the valley, waiting for him to come over.
Blew off half his mech.
I'm surprised his legs haven't caved yet. That is a nice shot.
Target destroyed.
There we go.
Nice kill.
Great work, you guys. Thanks for the drop.
So is the salvage bonus like dependent upon how much damage you did in the game or in the match?
I'm not sure.
I notice the number changes all the time. It's different.
I don't even know how it's calculated. I'm sure there's some guy somewhere who data mines the game to figure out how it's calculated, but I am not that guy.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even see like a percentage of like the damage done. I have no idea. Okay.
I'm going to check my event thingy.
Yeah, I got to do that too.
And then, McFish, I'll get an invite out to you.
I'm waiting on. The only thing I have left is the bags to open.
So the
So I just need
September mech event, I can claim
You still have
something
more
there.
Warhammer stuff. Man,
What?
slacking.
I know. I wasn't raised right. Claim, what's this? 40,000 match score. I get a, what do I get?
Seriously, you get the custom skin for the Warhammer that you unlocked with that event.
Skin.
Check, see if I got it.
I've got skin in the game now.
This event ends in 17 hours, and I have 36,000 out of 40,000
Match score?
Match score.
I mean, I could get that done in a day, but I just don't wanna.
You can get 40,000 damage done in a day?
No. That's not saying 40,000. It's 14,000, and I could actually.
I think I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Oh no. 40,000 match score. Yeah, that's a thing. I could probably do that. It'd be a little rough, but I could do
Is
it.
that my laser printer making all that racket? Yes.
If I spent all day and didn't sleep doing that one, I could do it.
Back. What was the...
I'm not going to, because that would
Excuse
be
me.
ridiculous, but I could.
Past events, rewards expired. Did I get all these rewards? Who knows? Okay, and then
I'll
I've
tell you
got...
if you didn't.
What's this? Trick or treat. Okay, I'm on the trick or treat one now.
Yeah.
I wish this was bigger. It's a lot easier to see on a web page.
You can just uncheck that show only eligible, and then you can click claim right there
Yeah.
next to it, and it will claim everything that you've unlocked.
Active premium time. Oh, I can claim all the ones that are claimable. You mean just with one click?
Yellow, yeah,
Yes.
that one right there. Click that, and it will claim all of them that you have unlocked so far.
This
So
health spawn deserves a better
GSP,
paint job.
cockpit zombie mech, bloody knife decal, jack-o'-lantern war horn. What's that sound like? So all that's left to redeem now. Do we get a mech this time?
It's in the loot bags. Once you open 250 loot bags, you can
Do I have to go to my
unlock the mech.
account
So you
to
have
do
to go
that?
to the website and open the loot bags.
All right. Is McFish waiting for me to give him an invite? I can do that. Maybe.
McFish, come join us in
Invite sent.
Discord.
He may not be able to talk.
He just says yes. Are you saying yes to you can't talk?
That's
or-
probably what he's saying yes to. I think he's hesitant. I think he's hesitant to talk because he's afraid it's going to give us a sense of validation that we maybe don't, haven't earned.
I just think you're taking shots in the dark there, friend.
I'm psychoanalyzing him without a degree or a license. Mech MWO. Let me know in the board screen and I'll drop us. I'm trying to log into my account and check my
Shabby
loot
green.
bags.
Right now.
Thank you.
Well, McFish, nobody said that you had to be
Talkative.
normal.
No,
Yes?
certainly
I
not.
don't know.
He's not here.
He says I'm a strange duck.
I'm
No.
curious what your definition of normal is with regards to this chat.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
why I hesitated, because normal is not normal. I don't know. It's really hard to define when you're talking about people.
Yeah. I always wonder what people
But
like.
just-
I've never tuned into somebody's Twitch just chatting stream. Like what are
Literally
they?
just a conversation with them. People ask questions and they communicate. That's
So
all.
is it just like what we're doing?
Kinda, except
Yeah.
it's like the
Essentially.
whole chat asks questions of the streamer.
And then you have tea
Yeah.
to drink too, right? Don't you have tea? Because they always show a picture with some girl with
or-
tea.
Something to drink, yeah. I mean,
Because all that talking dries your mouth out.
my poison
right.
of choice is usually decked out with sugar.
Some people probably choose
Yeah.
tequila.
I mean, it won't be the first time a Twitch streamer, or a streamer in general, has gotten loaded
No.
Yeah.
on stream.
Does Twitch have any rules about like imbibing alcohol on the stream?
Nope, none at all.
Even though they've
As
got
long
lots
as you're
of
not,
13 and older viewers, right? That's interesting.
As
They have a
long
way
as
to
you're
actually
not-
make it so that people who, like, they have a like a thing where you can click it. So if you want to do a mature stream only and not not invite people younger who are younger than 18, there's a way to actually do that. And anybody who comes into your stream has to actually verify their age
okay.
before they come into your stream.
Okay.
So
But-
people who are imbibing and stuff like that could actually make it so that their stream is mature audiences only and eliminate that problem. That would be the workaround for that.
Gosh, there's all these.
And there's, as far as what you can display, as long as you're not taking clothes off, they don't really care, or you're not saying hateful things.
Well, that really ruins
hate
my
speech.
my idea for my next steaming hot mech action hot tub stream. I was gonna. Yeah, never
No
mind.
hate speech, no nudity.
Yeah, basically, that's.
No
Yeah, but if I'm
copywritten
underwater, can people tell?
No copywritten music. That's a big one.
What about if it's your own copyright?
You got to be able to prove it.
I can.
I got the paperwork right here.
I
Well,
own the
then you're good.
license, and Jessica and I own all the license to hers, and Jennifer and I own all the licenses to ours.
Well, there you go. You can use your own music.
Except it's not the kind of music I'd play on my stream.
I mean,
Well-
you can. There's not websites, but there's music out there that doesn't have
Yeah.
copyright on it too.
So, am I looking in here in the loot bag? I opened 59 loot bags. Am I looking for a certain thing, or it's just whatever
No,
it is?
it's just
No,
a thing where
once-
you have to open a certain amount of them to qualify for the other reward.
If you look at the top, it
Oh, I
says
gotta go to
all those
150.
choose your rewards things, the drop-down boxes. Once you hit 250 loot boxes open, you
Oh,
can go in there and choose the hell spawn.
okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm kind of pretty far along. I got the first 2 tiers done, and I'm quite a ways into the next one.
The next tier doesn't start for another, like, what was it, 2 weeks, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Reactor online.
So it's past, that'll be past Halloween.
Weapons online.
Well,
They do these.
phase-
They do these events specifically so that they last beyond the end of the month.
Yeah.
All of them are like that. They change
'cause-
over the events in the middle of the month all the time.
because this event didn't even start until this weekend. It started Friday, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
we were
haven't
already
really-
halfway through the month.
I haven't gotten on there and
What's up?
looked into that. So, Big Noob, welcome to the stream. I'm not going to apologize for what we've just put you through, but I should warn you that anything could happen here on this stream. We have conversations about all sorts of things, and that's just the way it is. So this is Ghostlands, and it's crazy and weird. But you were asking about what kind of music I've done. So Jennifer and I, my wife and I, have written about 30 contemporary worship choruses for churches. We've written 13 or 14 children's secular, like for, non-Christian,
Artillery
non-religious,
online.
choral octavos for children's choirs and young teen, like high school up through high school age choirs. Mostly middle school would be the middle age of that, but some of the songs work well in different areas, and they've been used in festivals, and they're favorited by people, the kids in the festivals and the directors, and they're really, really well liked. I got 2 up here above me. I'm a little worried about them killing me.
Warning, incoming missile.
You're doing over there by
Oh, there's
yourself.
3 up here. Well, I was trying to catch up with everybody.
Incoming missile.
I'm just gonna
Stop
die
being a slowpoke,
instead.
man.
Critical damage.
You are not the point of the spear.
I'm trying to be the back end, I guess, of the cow. We've written some wedding music and some vocal jazz. We've written a children's Christmas musical that we've sold all
That's
over
a
the world,
Fafnir. Hello.
and just
King
some pop
Crab and
music
Vocal.
in general, secular pop music. There, I'm dead. They just killed me.
I'm stuck on the turret.
And none of that really works for this kind of a stream, really. You want more of the kind of cool stuff. And then my daughter is a singer-songwriter also, and she has a YouTube channel. Has about 18 videos, music videos. Half of them are originals and half of them are covers about. We're working on a cover of Elton John's Yellow Brick Road that's going to be her next video coming out. Probably we're hoping to get it out this October. I don't know when we're going to film it though for sure. But the vocal's done, and I've just got to do a final mix. But we can shoot it anytime. Then I have to do the edit. And then she's got 12 more originals that we're going to start recording an album for hers. And hers are all just like singer-songwriter, love song, kind of Sarah Bareilles type ballads and love songs and stuff like that. And you can check her out. Actually, you could, if you have the courage, you can check her channel out. It's Jessica Searle on YouTube. And the first one that comes up would be one with her and her mother and I and a friend of ours singing a cover of O Come O Come Emmanuel for Christmas, not like a year and a half ago, which was the last one we put out because she was finishing college and we just had the pandemic and everything kind of shut down and we didn't get any more done. But you could see I'm the old guy in the hat, the homeless looking guy in the hat singing a solo in it, and Jessica sings, and we all sing a quartet. It's a really haunting, beautiful arrangement of O Come O Come as a vocal quartet with piano. But then the tunes after that would all be mostly, other than another Christmas one the year before, that's a quartet again. All the others are going to be just her, or duets with her and some of her singing buds. And there'll be covers and originals and stuff. So you can check it. I can put a link in there if you want to check it out. And I can give you a link to an example of one of our worship choruses if you want to hear that too.
Alright, I think I'm gonna take off.
Hey, good to talk to you. Good to see you. Thanks for sharing your heartfelt, broken, terrible, sad, and I'm glad you're still alive
just
story.
One of them. I got many.
Stay tuned. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you right now. My life is a mess.
A lot of people that's the case, so you're not alone in that, I'm sure.
Like, I look back at the things I've dealt with and just the stupid stuff that people have done in my family and around my family, and I'm just like, why did I put up with all this?
You grow up in what you grow up in is what you think is normal. That's like codependency, basically.
I still don't think it's normal, though.
Well, that's good. That's actually, that's really good that you realize that. Oh man, all this loot stuff just came in here.
All right.
See you later.
I'm gonna take off.
See you later.
Have a good one.
Yep, you too. So I lost. Did I ever get McFish in here? He's gone again. Did he disconnect? What happened?
No, he's here.
Oh, he just didn't come over to chat. I mean, into comms. That's right. All right, hang on. Let me get a link in here. This is...
If anyone would like to, we have an open slot now.
Yeah, if anybody watching the stream would like to drop with us, just say pick me in chat, and I'll get you over here and get you on comms. All right, this is a link to one of Jennifer and my songs that is used in churches, sung by our daughter Jessica. We're actually doing an arrangement that's more hip, cooler, because cooler. This is just piano vocal, so we gave this to the person that's working on the arrangement, so he could come up with a more current arrangement of it, a little fancier. But you'll see links to other songs that are just vocal, piano, and Jennifer singing those. Any of the Jennifer or any things with pictures of Jennifer that are under Bruce Searle, you'll find there. So here's that. Do 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 do. And here is Jessica's YouTube channel. And I would recommend checking out, let's go here, I guess. I'm With You, which is an original. It says if the original's not. Blush is really good. A lot of these are really good. Just some of them are covers. Manhattan's a cover. It's kind of nice. It's a Sarah Bareilles cover, actually. We shot that on the Sky Park, the walking park in Manhattan, New York. So there's Jessica's channel. That's kind of funny. Her channel shouldn't have to be like that. It could be youtube.com/c/Jessica Searle will get you there also. That's easier to remember. All right, here's the drop, the big drop. Who's printing? Somebody printing? Seriously? Nope. My printer's just thinking it's important. Wants to be on the stream. And my daughter actually streams under Frog and a Pickle on Twitch. She might be on right now playing Hunt. So you could go over and say hi to her. But big noob, don't go over there and just stay over there and let her steal you away from my stream, because I worked hard to get you, misdirected and unethically stolen to come to my stream. No, you can follow her if you want.
Family rivalry.
Yes. Well, I have more followers on Twitch than she does, but she hasn't been doing it as long, and I think she'll get a lot more followers because she's super nice and she's young and she's a girl. So there you go on Twitch, right? And right. I'm the opposite of all those things. Well, I mean, I'm nice, but I'm opposite of the other two. Some old guy doesn't really garner a whole lot of attention on YouTube or Twitch.
Especially in today's day and age.
Yeah.
You old white cis male.
Geezers. I'm the epitome of the patriarch. I do whatever either my daughter or wife tell me to do all the time.
Right. Such a patriarchy.
The lizard people. Wait, what lizard people?
Oh, he's talking about. Oh my gosh, he started out as a conservative pundit and then just went way off the deep end. Man, I forget.
Oh, you're talking about Alex Jones.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't stand to listen to him. I don't really know I know he has a lot of conspiracy stuff, right? So I've obviously heard him, but I can't really stand to listen to him because it just sounds like someone is ripping his throat out while he's talking. It just hurts to listen to it.
Well, and he's like silently yelling is how he talks.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't like
I've seen some of his stuff. Like I've seen some of his on the street interviews.
Yeah.
Like those are okay because he's kind of calmed down for most of them. But when he's in his office or
doing
his studio, like oh my gosh.
Wow.
It turned me off completely.
Yeah, I do. Okay, you sometimes have those guilty pleasure things you'll watch or listen to.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of girls, it's The Bachelor or something, right? I haven't for a long time, but I actually used to go to sleep listening to Coast AM with George Norrie and whoever the other guy was, and they would interview the wackiest, stupidest, craziest people with the ridiculous stories. They'd have, ghost hunters and alien abduction people and just on and on, is every weird thing under the sun. And I would listen to that sometimes to go to sleep too. So I don't know if I ever listened to a whole show all the way through. And what's really scary, maybe it's not scary, I mean, I know one of the guys who's been on there like 3 or 4 times, probably 3 times. And he's a super nice guy, but he's kind of into the conspiracy things with the Revelation and the Bible and things like that. And so he's written like 4 or 5 books, and he makes his living off these books. And they're crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Not all of it. Some of it's like, okay, that might have some merit, but 90% of it is like pure conjecture and sorry, off the wall. But he's the nicest guy. So it's just kind of funny to, I think that's not going to work. I fell. Couldn't do it. Thought I'd walk the bridge.
Xenos, to answer your question, yes, that is the contrails are turning Brock's gay.
The contrails are?
Alex Jones is that guy.
And the contrails,
yes,
those
there
aren't those
memes
government
about it.
research with the Alaska antennas or something like that, and the giant antenna arrays to control the weather and program our minds.
Out there.
Yeah, I'm not. I enjoy a good conspiracy as much as the next person, but I don't buy into some of that stuff at all.
Just walk in front of somebody's PPC.
For entertainment purposes only. I've got, I don't know if he's still alive, the guy that helped me work on my house is totally into, he just believes that the trade centers were brought down by internal explosive charges, right? It's like, no.
Right, yeah, because was the steel beams don't, jet fuel doesn't burn at the temperature that would melt steel
unless
beams.
you have a nice flow of air going super fast to super
You have
heated.
a nice, and not only that, but being inside the building means that the heat is contained and building upon itself too. But I mean, who wants to think about these things logically? Anyway, now I listen to a lot of, or I used to listen to a lot of Steven Crowder. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I
used to be a stand-up.
I used to listen to him, but he's so like I don't really want to listen to him. I mean, he takes forever to say anything, right? So it's boring. It's mostly, and he's crude and kind of.
He can be.
I just don't really enjoy crude humor generally, anyway. And so some of the stuff, I could kind of listen to a little bit. I just can't that much.
Target spotted.
I lost half my mech. Oh, this guy.
Where are you?
I'm down here fighting these guys by myself, which I'm going to die.
I'm coming.
I'm going to be down. He's right down below the bridge here at E7.
You need to turn around. Come back to the group.
I can't. I'm trying to come back, but there's this Marauder.
Oh, is it that Marauder 2?
Left arm critical
Ouch.
She made it all the way around here.
I'm stuck here and I can't back out of the way.
Well, let me help you with that.
Thank you. Don't let him kill you.
Oh, it'll probably happen, but
He's working on you.
he
At least.
headshot me a little bit. He got one of my heavy mediums.
Heat level critical.
Haha, there we go.
Now we're talking.
Target spotted.
Oh, we got another one not too far from here.
Artillery strike on.
Mad Cat Mark 2. Oh, he just lost half of his
Affirmative.
neck. Can't see him. Oh, there he is.
Target spotted.
There we go. Oh, I'm getting shot in the back.
Where from?
Oh, out.
Oh, over there?
Ow.
Oops. All right, I'll watch that side when he comes around for me. Everybody's dead
Watch
here.
you die. You just watched me expire. Take a shot right to the face.
If I go out here, he's going to kill me. Oh, well.
Artillery strike online. Target acquired.
Target spotted.
By you.
He didn't get me.
Nope. He found other people to play with first.
Target destroyed.
I almost got the third shot. Would have got the kill. McFish got it. So,
Well,
I have listened to Crowder. I do kind of like some of the change my mind things he does, because then he's talking with people that disagree and they actually converse somewhat, right? And I like the conversation between people that don't agree. And so
But when it's just him in the studio, once again, it's like...
And he just brought some comedian who's really crude too, and I don't really like him at all, into the mix. And don't think he's funny. And I think also, having been a pastor and having had kids that were gay or trans in my youth groups, it's not that I begrudge him whatever opinion he wants to have. It's just his attitude towards and I don't think it's even towards individual people, but it comes across that way. He's just really totally willing to make them the brunt of whatever joke that he or the other guys want to make, and I'm just not really for that.
Yeah.
So no, can't really say I'm a fan. I remember Jennifer and I have a friend that was obviously gay in high school that sang in the vocal jazz group with us, and they didn't ever say they were. And talking to them later out of high school, they said, I fought it, and I cried, and I prayed, and I wept, and I, begged, and it just, I wasn't able to be different than who I am. And that's really, I think, where most people are at. They're who they are. And for me not to love people for who they are is not very Christian. It's not what the good news is about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're supposed to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
supposed to, and you're not supposed to judge. It doesn't matter who or what someone is.
Right. I certainly got my own problems to worry about, and I'll worry about those.
Xenos, yeah, I would have to agree with you on his shtick. Ladder with Craters shtick, that is. He also locked a bunch of his content behind a paywall too, which I don't really particularly.
I think he had to, because he was getting. See, I do feel like a lot of times people get kicked off of YouTube if they don't toe the very liberal line, and I think that's unfortunate.
And that is, I totally agree. It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Facebook does it. Twitter does it.
Yeah, and it's their right. It's their platform, but they
right.
pretend like it's, oh no, we're just being, they have their own third-party fact checkers that are extremely liberal that they pay to do the fact checking, and then they don't have anybody that they're accountable to. It's just kind of crazy.
Well,
so
that's the problem, is that a lot of the big tech companies are pretty heavily, liberal leaning.
Yeah.
Especially since a lot of them started in California and are based in California in some fashion. They pick up those ideals.
Yeah.
I think is the word I'm looking for.
And I've got good friends that are pastors that are Democrats and would consider themselves liberals. Fine with that. I consider myself a right-leaning conservative Republican who didn't vote for Trump, right? And who voted for Obama the first time. So most of the people I'm around are kind of more moderate. And so I don't really enjoy either extreme very much. And I think, like Xenos, your point about not really logical, calm discussion and listening carefully, that's really true. There's few people that really listen carefully. And by that, I don't mean listening critically to find something to jump at somebody about or shut them down about or to immediately, get them, but listening to hear their heart and the message of their heart so that you can then communicate about that. I think that's what's missing a lot of times from both sides.
Yeah. There's a lot of I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Involved in a lot of the conversations that happen nowadays, especially when it comes to politics, and there's no there's no agree to disagree, there's no nothing. It's just I'm wrong or I'm right, you're wrong.
And thus, and because you're wrong, you're also evil, and you're what's wrong with everything in the world, you. Right. It's like, okay, that's...
Yeah, because, I mean, like, okay, so when Obama got voted into office the first time, I was in the Air Force, and of course we're not really allowed to talk about that kind of stuff, politics and so on and so forth, religion and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean, the overall arching theme, like across social media and the news and everything, was like, if you don't vote for this black man, you're a racist. It's like,
Right.
whoa, hold on, wait a second. I don't like his policies in general,
Right.
so I'm not going to vote for him.
Yeah, and I didn't like his policies, but I didn't want McCain at all. So I voted for him. And
Didn't want either of them.
and I didn't care what color he was. I just thought he'd be better than McCain. I didn't want the status quo.
Sensors.
You get
And-
recognized in
Online.
chat.
What's that? What about
You get
witches?
recognized-
Phenomenal.
Oh, no, in game chat. You're recognized by Mr. Evo on the other team.
Hey, Mr. Evo, howdy.
Other team.
Oh, darn it, that's all? Is it T?
Yeah.
Thank you. I wasn't looking at that.
Target spotted.
I'm going the wrong way. See, instantly, I just have that knack for picking the wrong direction to go. Witches. So Eugene actually has like probably over 3 or 4. I think last I knew was 10 years ago or something. We have over 3,000 witches that live in our area. It's probably 4,000.
You have a few covens, probably.
Yeah, we do. And it's a town that's next to a smaller town called Springfield, and the combined population of those two is about 180,000. So that's what, 3 to 4% of our population is a witch or practicing Wiccan or some form therefore. And I'm not for witchcraft in any way, mainly because as a religious standpoint, I think, and a little bit of a scientific bias, I just don't think that it's good to worship the creation. So therefore, Druidism or anything that worships nature or draws on power of nature instead of just the creator of nature is not something I think is healthy or good. It's
So
good to
how
be.
do you
It's
feel
good
about-
to appreciate nature and be grateful for it, but that's not the same as worshiping it as a god or something. And
Target spotted.
go ahead and ask your question.
I was going to say, how do you feel about homeopathy?
Target spotted.
That's fine if some of it works, but some of it's poppycock, right? So
Yeah.
figuring out what's the hard part. Jennifer went to a homeopathic guy for her allergies, and he was amazing. And she'd been to all of the medical doctors in town, who are some of the best allergists in the nation here, because we have terrible allergies. And so all these great allergy doctors come here to practice. And they couldn't help her, and she was getting weekly or bi-weekly shots. When I met her,
Target spotted.
she had scabs on her scalp, big areas, patches of scalp scabs, and she still has scars
Oh, yeah,
now.
about death stuff.
And she'd have long patches of places on her arms that had broken out and started bleeding that would have scabs on them and stuff. And she couldn't breathe hardly. And I had never heard her breathe through her nose in like 2 years, right?
Artillery
That
strike.
just
And-
sounds miserable.
It was, yeah, she was miserable. And she went to this guy named Gamby, who,
Target spotted.
gosh, I'm just having trouble finding a target that's not moving too fast for me to hit.
There you go.
There we go. She went to this guy named Gamby, and he had her hold up substances in cups, I think, in her hands.
Share some armor.
And he'd put, or maybe he just in her hands. I think, no, in little, I don't know, whatever it was. It was dumb. And she couldn't hold it up if it was certain substances. Same weight, right? But she couldn't hold it up. And it seemed like absolute poppycock, right? And he tested her with some electric current through these different substances and her body, going through from one hand to the other and stuff. And he said, well, here's the problem. You're allergic to salicylates.
Target spotted.
And you need to get off of those. And so he put her on a cleansing diet. So for 2 weeks, she She also had goopy, stringy things that would come out of her eyes. You know, like she'd pull out 10-inch long strands of white goop out of her eyeballs. They always scratched and itched. It was just horrible, miserable for her. And so he had her get on this cleansing diet for 2 weeks. All she could eat was rice cakes, egg whites, and I think cod liver oil.
Goodness. It's got like no nutritional value at all.
Right. It was just to get everything out of her system but keep her alive, basically.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. And then all her allergies kind of subsided. And then he said, now, just don't eat potatoes because they're one you're allergic to. Or things with salicylates, which are most wines. Almost all prepared, prepackaged food has salicylates. And a lot of fruits have salicylates.
Yeah.
And she found that everything cleared up. Her skin cleared up, her eyes cleared up, her nose. I started to hear her breathe out of her nose. And her allergies just kind of went away. She was fine, except for during hay fever season. It was kind of bad, you know, but nothing like it used to be. So it allowed her body to be okay, right? And it was really transformative. And
you're showing your back to a lot of enemies.
I don't know where to go to be not dead, because there's guys down here too. I wanted to shoot these guys. If I go down, there he is. Yeah.
Then your ECM's broken too, so just be aware of that.
Target spotted.
Who's on my back?
Yep. That.
Peter,
That same guy?
Down in the valley. Assault in the valley. Not
Is it this guy down here or the guy I was shooting at? I just feel like I want to stay alive for a moment.
Yes, the assault in C4. Down in the valley.
Target spotted.
Other side of the dropship, I think.
I'm just not aiming very well either right now.
Oh, I think he just got taken down. There we go.
Great, I
You're
lived.
alive.
What do you know? So anyway, he was the only doctor of like 8 that she saw that could help her, and he was a homeopath. So if they can help you and it's something that's working, great.
Yeah.
I just don't know that all of them are that way.
Big Noob has a couple of questions for you.
Big Noob! I like that name. I didn't mind his personality at all. I didn't like his policies. I didn't like the old guard Republican cronyism. And I just get to this place, Big Noob, where I want to vote them all out. I want to throw all the babies out of the political arena.
Babies? You mean the...
No, because I think they're all like babies. I think they're all like children. But yeah, I mean, throw out all the bathwater, but it's really the politicians or the humans.
I think that there should be term limits on the senators and House representatives as well, not just the president.
I'm sorry, I was reading Noob's things. Say again.
Oh, I think that there should be term limits for everybody in government, not just the president.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree.
That would solve a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because they sit in there and then they
they get kind of just entrenched.
The health insurance thing that Obama introduced. The representatives and the Senate both voted to not have that apply to them.
Right. I don't think they should be able to pass a law that doesn't apply to them, such as insider trading, such as having their own health plan when they're forcing everybody else to do something different, such as, all those things. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous. So, okay, wait, what with the witches? That's nuts. Generally, where are you based out of? No need to be super specific. Also, you obviously have been a pastor for a while. How long were you a pastor for? So, I'm currently not pastoring. I pastored from the age I started youth pastoring as just a volunteer youth leader into my high school year, but it was all just volunteer and in a large youth group of like 300 kids and stuff. And then I went to Bible college while I was doing that, and I went to a secular college for a couple of years because I was going to be a professional musician. I was going to be a trombone player. I am a trombone player. I don't play much anymore, but I played professionally for a few years and was going to go down to LA, and I'd been told I could make $250,000 to $500,000 a year within a couple of years because they said I was good enough to do that, and they had done that. And I thought, wow, that'd be great. But instead I chose the only profession that pays less than being a musician, and that is a pastor. So I decided to do that. So I went to Bible college, and it took me 7 years to get it took me 9 years if you count the first 2 years of secular college to get my 4-year degree, because they wouldn't transfer anything, and I didn't want debt. So I just would work for a couple terms, then I'd go to school for a couple terms, then I'd work a term and go to school for a term, back and forth for 7 years. And then I went and took a youth pastor job here in town for a few years, and then we were in Spokane for a couple of years. And you just don't make enough money to live as a youth pastor. But I didn't want to be a senior pastor because I feel like you make the most impact on people's lives when they're between the ages of high school and college. Sure, you can make good impact but on other ages, but the most people make the biggest decisions in that age group. And plus, I love that age group. And one of the things I love about it is kids don't, well, some of them may try, but it's obvious. Kids are generally just honest with you. They don't play games as much. Adults, not so much. And so for those reasons and others, I really wanted to be youth pastor and passed up opportunities to be a senior pastor and stuff like that. And financially, my family suffered for that. But as far as our impact on helping people and helping families, I think it was the right decision to make. And then I came back to Eugene and youth pastored, and I was a worship leader and associate pastor at the church in Spokane. So I had adults and youth and young marrieds. And here I'm going this back way. As well as kids.
Sorry,
but
where are you going?
I'll come back over there. I didn't realize I'd gone the wrong way until I was already kind of going down the road. I can't get up there, can I?
Nope, you have to have jump jets.
Yeah. So up until about 6 years ago, I was pastoring or pastoring and leading worship or youth pastoring and stuff. So a lot of years.
Artillery strike.
And we basically lived month to month. It was always really hard financially until we started our Airbnb. And we're the world's smallest publisher, so we have our publishing income, but it's not that much because we're really small. And Jennifer teaches piano lessons and directs the Oregon Children's Choral Choir, which doesn't pay a lot, but the piano lessons help. And I do portrait photography and a little bit of audio recording, studio recording type stuff. And I make music videos, but I don't do those normally for lots of other people, although I have done some that way too. Like last year I did like 4, but none of those you wouldn't make a living in Eugene doing that. And so that's how long. How many years is that? 35 years about, I think.
Target spotted.
I'm only paying half attention, so I have no idea.
And Eugene, Oregon is the town that I am from and live in, and it has all the witches. And I don't know what the current number is for that. I remember that years ago, hey, McFish has got his shrieking brilliant dog there.
Gosh.
Target spotted.
I'm blinded
Target spotted.
by his majesty.
Is that McFish's blue mech?
It's like it's like the Holy Spirit of godlike Mechs right there.
It's the spirit of dire.
Yeah, it's the dire spirit of death. It's very Halloween spooky in that sense.
Ow. Dang it. I just took a Gauss rifle to the side.
I should be going over there
Are you
with
playing
him.
any more games, Stark?
Target spotted.
Oh, it's late. I'll play a couple more if you want to drop in.
Yeah,
We got a slot.
Yeah.
Talking and hanging out. I didn't even realize the time it was.
I've had
We're talking
dinner,
about witches. You'll be happy to know.
Target spotted.
What was the conclusion?
That there are a lot in my town.
Oh, right. Okay. So I take it you're not in Salem.
No, but Salem's about an hour away.
It's
We have
close
our state capital is Salem, but it's not that Salem.
Oh no! Crap! Oh no! I just realized I have no armor in my scimitar.
Artillery strike
You mean to tell me that even after all those witches were drowned, burned, and killed for a land grab, there are still witches?
Only the ones that
Of course there are. Oop,
the
shoot,
ones
sorry.
that floated were drowned because they were
Shot.
witches.
Target spotted.
Nothing to do with the weights and stones.
So
Yeah,
interestingly
they didn't
enough,
really
that whole
think of-
Salem witch trial thing that was stopped by
Spotted.
one or two Christian pastors that came and said you can't do this, and here's why, and
Need assistance.
they stopped it.
Yeah, but it didn't prevent the land grab, did it? I mean, that
Oh well,
Target
by the
acquired.
witches
No, by the people who burned them and killed
grabbing like are you talking about Native American land?
them. No, I'm talking
What
about...
land grab are we
talking
talking
about-
about? I'm just trying to stay alive here. You're talking about a land grab. I'm looking for cover.
Critical
I'm
damage.
saying that the witches that were... The people that were accused of witchcraft in the town were by people who were purely after their land. And
Oh,
some
yeah, I didn't
personal
know that.
revenge.
I didn't know that.
And some personal revenge. I'm sure there was some tit for tat personal
Sure.
revenge stuff going on, but it was basically a land grab.
Target destroyed.
There you go. Good shot.
That's the shot I wanted.
I get that ebb and jag.
Oh, nice
Yeah.
Torso critical damage.
Oh, who's at me now? Who shot me now? Up there. I missed him.
Torso
What?
destroyed.
Everybody's coming out here.
Destroyed.
I'm gonna shut
Yeah,
down.
well,
Did my already
we
strike?
only have
Cool
4
strike.
kills. They have 9. So
That might be part of the problem.
The odds are against you.
yeah,
Odds are against
odds
him.
Artillery strike
the odds are
online.
not in our favor.
Our foes are halfway to victory.
And
Consistently
when I say
got left
witches, Big Noob, that includes a broad range of witchiness. So some are just like white witches. Like most witches don't say, "Oh, I'm an evil, demonic, following, Satan worshiping witch." Most of them are into what they refer to as white or good witchcraft. And then there's just the, I'm into the Wiccan, wisdom, or I'm into the Wiccan spell stuff, and they wouldn't necessarily say they're witches; they'd say they're Wiccan, but that's all in the same category. So I think at the time there was, over 3,000. That was like 10 years ago in our area that associated themselves as being witches of one sort or another. So I don't know what the current number is.
I feel like they're being quite weak. I mean, if I was gonna, make the whole hog of saying I'm a witch, I'm right in there with the devil worshipping and the
Right.
flesh sacrifice.
Right, you might as well go whole hog, so to speak. Yeah,
Straight.
have a luau.
Whole goat.
Whole goat. That's what or whole black cat. Goat's bigger, I guess.
Well, I mean, goat was a common sacrifice, right?
Yeah. And cats.
The black cats are more the familiar.
Oh, that's right. They keep the black cats around, but they actually
Right.
a lot of witch ceremonies do sacrifice cats.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're an expert on
Target
witchcraft.
acquired.
Not an expert, just enough.
Something you're not telling us, Dark.
Well, the dark does come from somewhere.
It
You're the
pays.
pastor of Satan.
I'm Satan's pastor.
It pays to know your enemy, right?
Why do I get a feeling of humorous delight whenever Casual Jerry gives me a donation of $6.66?
That's right. The secret code. It's like a secret handshake of some sorts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Critical.
You know what it's truly about. We do now.
Oh my gosh.
Damage. Override.
I do remember picking up a girl
Critical damage.
downtown.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I picked up a teenage girl downtown. My wife and I picked up a teenage girl downtown who
It's getting scary.
had run away from home in California, and she needed a place to stay, and she had been staying with a coven, and she was creeped out because of the stuff they were doing, and some of it was involving sacrifice stuff. And we took her in and found a place for her to stay for a few weeks till she could get some other longer term accommodations.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
I dated a girl in high school that converted to a Wiccan.
You
That
did?
was
After
huge.
she dated
Yeah.
you?
No, while I was dating.
Oh.
It's like the new lesbian. It's fantastic. She didn't just go lesbian. She went witch, man.
She went witch.
You're right. No, I was still very much Christian back then too, and then she was living in California, and I was living in Montana. And while she was living in California, she converted to Wiccan. It's like, and I didn't find out until I went to go see her. Yeah, it was.
What?
I got to meet her coven.
Nice.
It was a startle.
Nice.
Like,
This is so good. This is
what
like
the?
Only in America and only on my stream.
This is so good. This is honestly like you didn't turn her gay, right? Your
No.
Christianity turned her to
drove,
witchcraft.
you drove her to Satan.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm doing something wrong.
I'm in game, by the way.
I sent you an invite.
Thanks for that shit. That was great.
You're welcome.
I'm just worried that Valen's going to pop in and tell me off.
Oh my gosh. Who's on comms? Also, who's in comms with me? I've got McFish, who doesn't talk because, well, he's got gills and no vocal cords. And then there's Drax, who's from 228 down in Australia. And then Lonely Ronan. I have no idea where Lonely Ronan is, except, are you in Washington or something?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm across the river from Oregon.
Okay, yeah. So I did have an idea, shockingly.
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. So, like, Portland is literally a stone's throw away.
Yeah. McFish, I personally have not killed even a few witches. I have... Okay, this is a weird story, and I don't know what to make of it, okay? I don't know if I can endorse the truthfulness. I can endorse the truthfulness. I can't endorse the reality or accuracy of this. Having come from a Pentecostal background, but I'm not kind of the guy who barks at the moon or swings from the trees. I had never encountered someone who appeared to be possessed by a demonic spirit. And I was at a high school camp up in Portland at...
That's your first problem. It's in Portland.
Well, it was up the Columbia Gorge at Crest View. There's a camp up there. It's really beautiful.
Okay.
And there was this kid, high school kid, who, oh my gosh, he wanted us to pray for him, and he was kind of all shaky and stuff. And you know that some of this stuff can be just in their head, and it can be psychosomatic, and there can be, physical reactions because of all the emotions going on in them. And camp certainly can bring those things to the fore, but this was not during one of those times. And he wanted us to pray with him, so me and a few other people came to pray with him in their cabin. And he started talking about how he had been really kind of drawn to the satanic stuff. And he had gotten satanic posters and put them up on his wall. And he'd been feeling like he had been talking to the spirit that wouldn't leave him alone and all this stuff. And then he asked if we would pray for him because he didn't know how to make it stop. And I said, well, it might be a good idea to get rid of the poster and the other stuff that you have. But anyway, we prayed for him, and he started doing all these weird things like you sometimes, his head didn't spin around, right? But it was really intense. And honestly, I could not tell you if it was anything but real. I still to this day think something was going on there. And when we were done, it was done. And he was okay from then on. And that's the only encounter that I had of something like that with some kind of like what you would call a demon possession type thing in my whole time ministering that was like that kind of dramatic thing. And I honestly can't tell you that I think there was something to it, but I can't prove that. I know it was wild though. Oh my gosh, it was wild. I don't think he was faking it. So if he wasn't faking it and it wasn't real, then it was super emotionally charged, intense emotion that was affecting his whole body and everything.
Could have
Crazy.
been like he could have been experiencing something real, but that it was due to
Other things, yeah.
that might be the error, but whatever.
Yeah, I realized that. I realized it's not something I could even prove, but at the time I'm thinking, well, I would not have thought that I would be in a situation like this where I could not tell if it was real or not. Because you can tell sometimes if someone's just being emotional. I mean, I'm certainly good at telling that and certainly deal with a lot of that. So it was really weird, quite an experience. But, I was 24 at the time, 25 probably. That's probably 25. Might have been more than that. I might have been 26 or 27. So I wasn't just a young kid. I'd been, working in ministry for a long time already.
Artillery strike online.
And so, McFish, back to your question, I have not killed even a few witches. I do, however, have a wood shop, and I have a lot of pieces of wood out in the wood shop, and many of them have sharp points. I'm just saying.
So you're prepared for the...
I'm prepared for any
apocalypse.
contingency, in case there's vampires or something like that.
Delta Cyclops 4 UAC 5.
Target spotted.
Especially around Halloween. I sleep with sticks of wood under my bed that are sharp.
Oh. Well, I mean, I sleep with a pistol under my pillow, but that works too.
Oh.
I may or may not be joking. You don't know.
Echo,
Although
Big
this
Reaper,
is
Triple
America,
York,
so
DC.
I mean, chances are pretty high, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So speaking of, I did a paper when I was in school, getting my associate's degree, and per capita,
Did
there's
the Health Fund release
100
Yellow Solo?
guns per person per capita in the United States.
Say that again. What?
There's 100 guns per
Why?
person
Why do people
What?
in the United States. Yeah.
What?
There's enough
No.
guns owned, So there's enough guns owned in the United States that
For
they
every
could
person to have 100 guns.
distribute, 100 guns for every
It
person
was
in the
actually
United States.
2 or 3 mechs.
It's actually like 100.2 or something like that.
I can't even imagine that many guns.
Well, you have.
I thought we
people
only
who-
had like 300 million guns and we had like 200 or 380 million people.
Well, you also have to think that some of these are like grandfathered weapons, right?
Sure, like our collections and things.
And collections and everything, but the statistic that I had pulled up, it didn't delineate
acquired.
between any of that. It was
Level
all just
critical.
registered firearms. It didn't matter what.
Wow. Are you sure it's that many? That'd be 100 times 350 million.
Yeah. Well, there
can't be that many guns
You also
here.
You also have to think that some people have humongous collections of weapons that they. Like, there's some people that I know of in Texas that have, like, the biggest gun.
Yeah, but I don't
safes
think
that you
Texas is
can.
big enough to hold that many guns. That's just a lot of guns.
I mean, I have quite the. I'm gonna die here by myself. I've got a quite small collection myself already. My dad said that when I graduated high school, I had more guns than he did at that age. So, but still.
His back's up wide open, by the way.
Arm critical damage.
Oop.
Right torso critical damage. Right
Darn
torso
it.
Did y'all lose that fight out there or
Right
what?
arm destroyed. Large pulse.
But
I think half
one of the
their team's
other
out of position.
statistics that I had pulled up was that there's two things. The average response time of police in the United States is around 30 minutes. And then
Which is not real impressive, is it?
No, it is not. And then unless you're lucky like me and there's a police station like literally just down the street. Same with the fire station, which is kind of nice. But the other statistic there is that the FBI. Okay, keep in mind that this paper that I wrote, it was in like 2014, 2015. The average yearly defensive use of firearms was somewhere between 250,000 to 3 million.
Right leg
Okay, now,
critical damage.
I just looked on Wikipedia, which is not necessarily a highly trustable source in a lot of things, but Small Arms Survey stated that U.S. civilians alone account for 393 million of the worldwide total of civilian-held firearms. This amounts to 120 firearms for every 100 residents. So 1.2 guns per person in America. That sounds more realistic.
So I may be remembering wrong. I can go
Could
look
be.
up the paperwork.
It could
or
be.
my paper.
Your paper just
have
went
it
down
on
from an A to a B, though. I'm just saying.
Right arm, critical damage.
But
Left torso, critical
yeah,
damage.
'cause the statistic that I quoted for defensive gun uses was the reason why there's such a huge disparity is because the FBI had to estimate, because a lot of defensive gun uses aren't reported.
Right.
Because sometimes it's just as simple as showing the other person that you
That,
have
that
a
you're
firearm.
armed. Right, and then they leave.
Yeah, just pulling your jacket, back a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, and then they decide you're not a viable target.
Yeah. I think that there would be a lot less
Match.
gun violence if we rode around in mechs.
No, that would introduce something else entirely.
Laser eye blindness.
Yeah, if that was the only problem.
Big Noob, that was civilian use, so not counting military guns. But our military is only a fraction of the population.
The military only accounts for 2% of the United States population.
And I'm sure they have.
Of that,
They each get an M1 or they get an AR and they get a pistol, right?
well, in the military, it's not an AR because it is select fire capable.
McFish, that's a great question.
As in-
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, McFish was asking about Exodus 22:18. First of all, I do not really put a whole lot of clout in the King James version of the Old Testament because it was the first English translation, and they did great considering what they knew back then. In most cases, it holds up pretty well, but it's hard to read, and there are a lot of archaeological, historical, and literary studies that they've done that they've learned over the preceding 400 years or whatever, where there are much better translations. So in the Old Testament, the New American Standard Bible's the best English translation. It's a little harder to read. It's 11th grade reading level instead of I think 9th grade or 8th grade is what the NIV, New American or New International Version is. But it's more accurate to the ideas and thoughts in the original Hebrew. So NASB is far better to study the Old Testament in. And the NIV and the NASB are about equal for the New Testament. But to answer your question, Exodus 22:18 about what's your take on "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." I think that there's this whole theme that works out throughout the Old Testament. And first of all, biblically, if you look at all of the Old Testament and then the New Testament, you see this theme of Scripture being progressive theology or progressive revelation, where we get these smaller, dimmer views of God or of what God wants us to do, but they get clearer and more distinct the further you go. So the understanding we have of God in Genesis versus the understanding we have of God in, say, the prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel, are vastly more detailed and vastly much more. You see more. You get a sneak peek of compassion and love and forgiveness right at the very beginning, but you see it on full display by the time you get to the end of the Old Testament. For example, you'll see Hosea, the prophet, who God says, "Hey, go marry a prostitute, a temple prostitute," who normally they would say put to death, right? So it's not like this universal law that everybody had to follow. God said, go marry this prostitute. And the reason was so you could learn to love her the same way I love Israel and people, how I love you, right? And
So do
she
Christians
she cheats on him
believe-
and leaves him, and then God says not to go kill her. He says go find her and take her back and marry her again. And then he does. And then she cheats on him and leaves him. And then God says, go find her and take her back and marry her again. And it's a picture of God repeatedly being rejected by his very own people, the Israelites, who are constantly turning to other gods and constantly disobeying and constantly straying, and yet he always goes and finds them and pulls them back. And that's the picture that you see at the end, and you see it throughout all of the Old Testament, but you see it just vividly, colorful, three-dimensional life in all of Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Ezekiel, and Hosea, and the prophets, Jonah, for example, too. So I don't see and then you get to the New Testament where Jesus kind of lays it all out and says, well, here's how you live it. You love people, right? So I don't see some of these commands to basically kill this person, kill that person, or whatever, as being the heart of what the Old Testament's about. There were these cases where these things happen. Like there was an example of, and I can't understand this, okay? There's an example of, I don't remember where the passage is, where if you've got an unruly son that is harmful to the community, and he's, say, raping people or killing people and stealing, and he's just one of those, wayward messes, that the parents were told they could take him out or should take him out to the edge of the town and stone them to death. I can't imagine doing that. And I don't imagine that many parents could do that. And I don't know that God would want that, but if they were in that situation, it's like that it was the option that they were given. Wow. So I in the sense of progressive revelation of God's heart and will, we can see these things in the Old Testament, go, what in the heck? But as our understanding of God changes in the Bible, in the Old Testament too, we see that that's really not his heart on a lot of this stuff. So,
Doug, so do Christian, well, do people of faith believe that, say, particularly Christians, that the Bible was, written by God or written by people inspired by God? Like,
It was written, speaking as someone who is not as much of a Christian now as I used to be, the Bible was written by people who were spoken to by God to write down these things. So I guess in the context of your question, it was more an inspiration from God to write these things down.
I'll give you my definition as someone who has studied the Bible for 40 years.
Target spotted.
Yeah.
Not that I'm an expert, but more so than a lot of people, I guess.
Well, I'm not. I've never read it.
And that is that that Scripture it's inspired in the sense that, and there's different takes on this, but I've come to peace with this feeling like it's probably the best of them. That Scripture is inspired by God through regular people. And sometimes that's through write this,
That's what they are, boys.
and it puts it on their heart to write it. Sometimes maybe word for word, like thus says the Lord. There'll be these proclamations that God tells Jeremiah to go lay in front of the gate in a pile of excrement, naked, and tell everybody who's going through the gate of Jerusalem that this is what's going to happen to them if they don't repent of their sins, and stay there for like 30 days and yell all day long in a pile of manure, human excrement. And so that's a quote, God puts it in there, but a lot of the stories and the experiences recorded in the Bible are not dictation by God. They are the stories that are inspired to communicate to us the principles and the things that God wants us to know. That doesn't mean, I think they're historically accurate. They're not scientifically descriptive. They're phenomenally descriptive, meaning this is what it looks like. If you're standing there just describing it, you're not trying to figure out how it happened. So when you look at miracles, you got to keep in mind that it's not trying to tell you how it happened. It's trying to tell you just what it looked like when you were there, seeing it. and that it's accurate historically. And we have a lot of historical evidence now that backs up a lot of the claims of the Bible historically with hard dug out of the ground evidence, right? So we can look back and see, oh look, this is that, and this is that city, and this is what happened, and we have evidence of that. But most Christians believe that somewhere in between of, well, it's the general idea, or it's every word is written by God and exactly, inspired. I don't think that you can look at that literature that's the Old Testament and make that case. I think the case you get is that there are sections that seem obviously claiming to be inspired, and these are God's words. And then there are cases that are man's words communicating God's ideas to other men. And I just killed myself running around. And
it's just interesting because the terms I'm hearing you guys use. I mean, I don't. I mean, my background is Jewish, and so our Bible didn't change, so to speak. Our holy book didn't change. It was written at a certain time, and that's what it still is. It's just interesting that
wait
your
a
Bible
second.
is something that evolves.
Drax,
Yes.
When you say that, that's not really quite right, because the Pentateuch, the first part of the Bible was. But what about the prophets? Don't you include those too? Because those came hundreds of years later.
Well, I only know the Torah, so like.
Okay, just the
that's all
Torah.
I think about.
Yeah, but the Jewish Bible includes the prophets too, the law and the prophets, right? So it also was written over a span of hundreds of years.
Yeah, but
on,
compared
go
to
on.
now, like, it just seems like, okay, maybe that's the case, and then you guys never stopped.
But we just couldn't stop.
Well, it seems like the Bible's been modernized and rewritten a few times, and certainly because of different branches of the faith have also come into being. Their versions have been, come into being, so to speak, as well. It just, when I studied the Torah, whatever evolution it had, and then it stopped, so to speak. That's all I meant, Dark. It's not like,
I get that. I think that's not accurate, because that's true of the New Testament also. New Testament was primarily penned within a relatively short period of time of about 60 years. Pretty much all of it.
The first half of it was written by the disciples themselves.
Or Paul.
All who were all alive in the same few decades.
I thought it was done by a committee in Eastern Byzantium.
Oh, no.
A couple of books were put together and said, okay, well, this is what we'll say it is, and all other books will be heretical. And if you believe in those things, here's a monastery you can go to and just rewrite what we want here, right? Otherwise, we're going to burn you at the stake.
You're talking about the Council of Nicaea,
yeah,
which canonized what the Christian Bible is considered. And basically...
and they left some stuff out, and they put some stuff in.
Right, and basically here's how that happened. Is they got together and they took all of the biblical canon literature, which included all of the Old Testament, that had been, there might have been a couple Jewish wisdom literature things that they left out, right? But anything that was generally considered a recognized Jewish, the law and the prophets was in. And then they looked at the New Testament writings, which were the disciples and Paul, and then Timothy and 1st and 2nd Timothy, and book to Colossians, which was by Paul also. And they looked at all the other possible ones, and they all came to an agreement that these stand apart. These ring true to us in our knowing, in our relationship with God,
but
and
I'm
with
talking about
our
like the King James Bible, Dark. I'm talking about when the Germans guys broke away and formed their own version. Like I'm talking about modern.
Oh, you're talking about English translations?
If that's what it is, even McFish saying the term witch, there was an evolution. There is no witch in the Torah. There's no witch in the Jewish faith at all. So it's like, what point did the term witch come into being?
Oh yeah, that came from the King James. In the Old Testament,
Yeah.
it's a sorcerer is the word. And Paul was forbidden because the Hebrews were forbidden to seek the advice of a sorcerer, someone who could intercede in the spirit world.
But when
they
did
were
the
only to
term
go to God.
sorcerer? When did the term sorcerer actually get used in what edition of the Bible? Given you've said that these things.
Well, the Hebrew word itself, that is the meaning. So our best translation of that Hebrew word is a sorcerer. Someone who.
So it's in the Torah, is what you're saying, or in the Book of Prophets, is what you're saying, or you mean?
It's in wherever Saul. Where's is that? Where's Dave? Where does Saul die? What book is that? I don't remember. Anyway, Saul. He's in battle and he commits suicide. Dies on his sword. It's in your.
It's definitely a Christian thing. It's not a Torah.
No. It's in the Hebrew Bible.
Well, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I could find it for you, but it's in there. And he was forbidden to go seek out a diviner of spirits, and he did anyway. And that diviner of spirits, that sorcerer, told him something, but he wasn't supposed to do that. So that's where it is in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, there were still people who would claim to, or did, I don't know, claim to make communication with the dead, and the New Testament forbids going to them for advice. It's basically go to God, don't go to some spirit, fake or otherwise.
I mean, I'm not versed in any of this stuff to be
Sure.
debating this stuff because I'm not. Like I gave up my practice of Judaism pretty much when I left, pretty much like year 10. So.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me, Drax, is that if you look at the book of Isaiah, for example, which is one of the prophets, the Hebrew prophets, right? The greatest prophet, really. And the literary structure of that book, the first half of it is very law oriented and calling out the Jews for not being a servant and disobeying God, and where's the servant of God in my people? I know, people. Right. Well, but still, it doesn't matter because we're all just like that, right? The Jews are just like us.
Unless you're Jewish, you're not chosen.
Okay, well, fine. I'm not. I can't. Maybe I can't run away from God as well, but I certainly give it the good college try. And so, anyway, it's like that, and it's building and building and building to this kind of climax of there is no man who will serve God. We all fail, and
well, I mean, if Judaism was 1.0 and Christianity was 2.0, why aren't we all just Muslim, which is like apparently according to them God 3.0?
Well, let me get back to finishing this, and then maybe it'll make more sense. Because this goes into the canonization of why the Christian Bible is the shape that it is and the books that it includes, I think. And that is that then that's the first 39 chapters of the book of Isaiah. Then there's a marked change in both the structure of where things go and in the tone and in the message of the rest of Isaiah. The remaining 27 chapters of Isaiah are about this servant who suffers and dies for the sins of mankind. And it culminates in the center at Isaiah 53, and in the center of that chapter, and you may know this, you may not, but Hebrew poetry works differently than English poetry. English poetry likes rhyming of sounds, right? But Hebrew poetry likes rhyming of ideas or of structure. And so in the very center of this second section, in Isaiah 53, is this Lamb of God who is slain for the sin of mankind, and it's in the center of that section, and it's the center word in the center verse of the center section of the center chapter of the center section of Isaiah, and it's the climax of the entire book of Isaiah, which is that God will send a servant, because there is no man who's a servant or woman who's a servant, so basically that's the Lamb of God that Christianity looks to. It's the Lamb of God that's promised to Israel as their way out of their sin. Now, what's really interesting is if you look at the Old Testament, it has 39 chapters in it, books. The law and the prophets make up 39 books. If you look at the New Testament, which has a markedly different tone and hope and this idea of the gospel of good news of our sins being paid for by Jesus on the cross and dying for us, the servant of God, the Lamb of God. He's described as the Lamb of God, and that he fulfills the way that he's described in Isaiah 53 of dying is exactly the way he was killed by the Romans 400 years later. And it fulfills this prophecy that's given in the Hebrew scriptures. And that number of books in the New Testament is exactly 27, just like there are 27 chapters in that second section. So you see that the Bible itself, the canonized Bible, or the Christian Bible, has the same number of Old Testament law-focused books,
Echo line,
and New Testament hope and suffering servant paying for our sin books, redemption books, as the book of Isaiah. It's like Isaiah is a miniature of the entire Bible. And I don't think it's possible that these men in the Council of Nicaea could not have recognized something there, because they were immersed in the Old Testament scriptures and these New Testament letters. And something must have popped up, because when you look at it, you go, "Oh my gosh, this is the same thing." It wouldn't surprise me at all if they just said, "Well, these are obviously what we need to keep because they match what's already in the Old Testament." So I think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, rant over. Five day. This is the most uniquely interesting Mechwarrior stream I've encountered this week.
Well, come back, because we tend to have
We tend to have them.
I need help, you guys. Where are you guys?
So Greek has phileo, eros, stargay, and
everyone up to F7.
what are they?
Come
There's
on.
erotic love, family love, brotherly love, and agape, unconditional love. So there's 4 Greek words for love.
New target acquired.
The Hebrew language is really interesting because it's not as precise
Got 2 Mechs
as the Greek is. The Greek is much more like English, and there are precise words with precise meanings and precise syntax. And the Hebrew has its own syntax, of course, and its own vocabulary, but the vocabulary is pretty much largely visual or idea based. So you in the Greek you would say they went up to the mountain and sacrificed to God, but in the Hebrew you'd say mountain, God, sacrifice, and you'd say Abraham.
Yeah, but I know
and
some
Isaac.
people in Liverpool that probably say the same thing.
Let's say, what do you mean? I'm just saying when you translate the Hebrew, it's a whole different ball game than it is Greek.
You have to know English accents.
Oh, right. But as far as your thing about all the different all the different translations, we have some really remarkably good translations now. Like the NASB is a really good translation of the original thought for thought meaning of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And there aren't any native speakers of Koinonia Greek other than those who have studied and learned it, because it's pretty different than new current Greek. But there are those people around. We had a person come into my Greek class that was a native Koine Greek speaker. Koine is the time period that Jesus was living. And it was really different than regular Greek. They kind of gave examples of the two. And the same thing's true of Hebrew. I'm sure that, Hebrew was almost a dead language, and they kind of revived it back so that people are learning Hebrew again.
Whoa, what? What?
The original Hebrew was starting to disappear, and they started making it a national, we need to learn Hebrew. So they started teaching Hebrew to all the Jews in Jerusalem and around that area, because they were losing the native language of native Hebrew.
What period are we talking about? This
Oh,
happened?
probably 50, 60 years ago.
Destroyed.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, the Holocaust didn't do us any favors.
Right.
And
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, as far as all the
Jews,
different...
by and large, teach each other Hebrew. So
Yeah.
that we might have been an endangered species, certainly in Europe, sure, but there were Jews in Israel still teaching.
Well, remember, there were a lot of people who migrated to other countries and didn't necessarily learn Hebrew.
Well, there's a lot of people who don't practice, like any religion. There's a lot
it
of
was
people
falling
who-
out of
like,
practice.
I don't
and-
practice.
yeah.
Israel itself wasn't even actually a formalized state until after World War
New
II.
target acquired.
As a modern state, no, that's right. As a modern state, no.
No.
But there were Jews living there, and they were still Jews, and they were still in the practice of worship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that they were small. Well, it's just like anything. They didn't have a country anymore, did they?
If you look at the modern translations of the Bible, Old Testament or New Testament, some of them are just certainly not very good. But the people who study the Bible know which ones those are, and it's usually because there's this continuum of, do you make a word-for-word translation that's super accurate but nobody can understand, or a thought-for-thought that isn't really precise to what was there word-for-word, but it gets the idea across, or do you make it hard to read or easy for younger people to read? And so or do you make it more contemporary for a contemporary audience? So there's this whole spectrum of possibilities that a translator has to choose from, and some
There's
people.
also the message you want the people to have.
And then
I just can't
there's
help.
that sometimes.
I'm
yeah.
obviously not religious like you are, dark and lonely, like you were brought up in. But I still can't. I can't get past how, as religion centralized, they controlled the message, and they wanted that message to be a certain thing in a certain way. And I don't know how truly reflective it is of, say, the God that it ascribes to following. I have no idea. I have my suspicion. That's all.
I think it's better than you think, but not perfect. Right. I mean, absolutely, it's not perfect, but I think it's better than people realize in a lot of cases, and not in every case.
In my experience, this is the way that I've come to think about it. So religion is centralized now, for the most part, but I feel like going to church and listening to the sermon it should be more of a guide. You should have a personal relationship with God, and you should... How do I explain this?
Well, that's why there's faith, isn't there? I mean...
Right, but what I'm saying is you shouldn't be taking the church's word for it. You should be doing your own reading in the Bible and
double check.
And making up your own mind, looking
but
at
then you
what
get
it
Mormonism.
says. Because... No,
Mormonism is very tightly reined in on what they believe or not.
Yeah, but
very tight.
That's what I mean. Like they. Sorry, I should let you finish. Sorry, Lenny, go on.
So you should come up with, I guess, your own interpretation of what the word says. Instead of just taking the church's word for, well, this is what, the pastor said, so this is the truth. When in my experience, sitting in on sermons, pastors, and no offense, Dark, like to take a single verse out of context and use that as their thesis for their sermon.
It's not that they like to, it's that sometimes they don't know they're doing it. Right? I mean, to give them the benefit of the doubt, but yes, I agree with you.
Whether it's intentional or not.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and they take that one verse and remove all context and just use that and other examples that look like that in the Bible and use that as their sermon, their lesson for the day, whatever. And so that's something that actually my mom taught me to do, was just sit and listen, and while the preacher's talking about whatever he's talking about, go through and read the context of the verse that he's just quoted or the verse that he's using, so you can get a full story, so that you're not depending on someone else to create your vision or your view of
your understanding.
your understanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
Your understanding of what they're talking about.
And a good teacher will do that and do it faithfully. They'll be really careful. Like when I study for, if I'm going to teach, I read the verse that I want to talk about, and usually it's a whole story or a whole section, but let's say there's one verse, then I read the section around it, and I read the chapter around it, and then I read the 2 chapters, or at least one chapter ahead of it and one chapter afterwards, and then I'll look at the whole book overview also, so I can have the context of that. And then I'll go look at the historical context. I'll go look at the cultural context at the time, and stuff like that. And then I'll come back to the original verse, because then I'll have this broader context, and I'll have the structural context. Okay, here's the overall point this guy's trying to make, and this is the third point, but in that context, now I have a better understanding of what he's really saying. Right? So you got to do all that work, and some pastors don't get the education to know to do that work. They don't know how to do the work. They don't even know it's there to do. But they're really good speakers, and so they get this following that believe them. And maybe they're right sometimes, because a lot of times it's not too hard, but maybe they're not, and that happens. So definitely you got to be, it's, test and see. You can't just take it all at whatever somebody said all the time, unless you find a guy who really does that kind of work. And I've worked with and under pastors who do that kind of work, and I've worked with those who do not, and there's a huge difference in what they come up with.
And even
I'm not sure all religion is centralized, but I do take your point that there are religions that are central. Like, I don't think the Muslim faith, unless you're sort of Iranian, where you've got an Ayatollah, a lot of the Muslim faiths aren't. I wouldn't call them centralized. And even the Jewish faith, we have our rabbi, which is essentially one in the synagogue. But I don't. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Pope.
I agree. I think the Pope for the Catholic Church is the most centralized thing. Other than over in the Middle East, I think the imams are kind of like the Pope. For those. But there are a lot of people who don't.
Rabbis, though, there's a lot of them. They're not just one of them.
The imams are like the religious authority for that area.
Yeah. Would it be like a bishop in the Catholic Church or something like that?
Yeah, but it's not like a pope, as in the leader of all of those people. I mean, the Ayatollah, I think, for Iran
is probably the closest.
But I don't think
Christianity generally is hardly very centralized at all, at least in America.
Right. Okay. If you're Catholic, though, you're
Catholic. But I think what's interesting is like the Catholic Church is really against abortion, but a lot of Catholics are fine with it, right? So they don't really listen to it completely. Just like a lot of imams will say death to everyone in Israel, push them into the sea, and a lot of the Islamic people will say, I don't think we should kill everybody, right?
Those people just want to get on with their lives, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are. There's a larger percentage of radicalized X, Y, and Zs around, so you only hear their voice. So the media only likes to focus on their voice.
Right.
I mean, there are plenty of Muslims and Jews that get on in Israel. You just don't hear about them.
Yeah, I had a friend that lived there for about 4 years, and he had a great time.
Right. I was going to say, people of differing religions, cultures, blah blah blah, don't make headlines when they're getting along.
Right. That's a boring story.
That's right. Yep.
Target spotted. Need assistance.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Unfortunately.
Target spotted.
Typically, in my case, if it bleeds, it's Dark Marauder in front of all the other mechs.
Critical damage.
Make sure you share your armor.
Well, this time you seem to have your point man skills have led you around the entire enemy force, because they circled to our initially to our.
I know.
lab.
What's with that?
It's just a NASCAR. This whole map was meant to stop that, and it's done nothing.
That's not necessarily true, because when I play this map, it's kind of a grab bag as far as where everybody ends up meeting for the most part. Especially on a map like this, Conquest, where the objectives are spread out all over the place.
I haven't done this. What do you call it on this map? I haven't done this
game mode
version of the map. Yeah, this game mode on the map.
There's a UAV right above you at I-7.
It's such a large map.
Target spotted.
Yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover. That's. I don't
All
like.
right, I think I need to get closer to things. What do we got down here?
Map
Oh.
H9 if you guys.
Oops, there we
New
go.
target
My first
acquired.
kill of the match.
Left arm
H9.
destroyed.
Target spotted.
Ah, come on. Better get out of there.
That was a big.
Target spotted.
Oh, Ghost
Can I get up here? I cannot. All right.
Where are you?
Where am I? I'm over here at
Just keep going forward and then
I9.
follow
There's
me.
this annihilator over here. Are you in the
I'd
timber?
love some help with the Annihilator.
Yep,
We're
working
coming.
on it. Yeah,
Come in,
LRM's
bring him
coming.
back our direction if you can.
Well, I mean, and Annie's not
Target
going anywhere
destroyed.
very quickly. Just
Oh, he's
two
dead.
more. Yep, he's
He's
dead.
dead. But there's a
Blood
Cyclops
Asp
up there.
Target
I got Kilo
acquired.
coming up here.
Artillery
Target
strike
spotted.
online.
I've got Echo and Lima right in front of me.
Okay, I'm gonna work on Kilo, I hope.
Epsilon, I got Epsilon.
Target spotted.
Oh, no.
Oop, ow. Okay, that hurts a little bit.
Target
Yep.
destroyed.
Okay,
Kilo's
all
down.
right. I made a mistake.
Let's circle around
I
here. We got
understand
guys
that.
back here.
I may not be living soon. Yep, there goes half my mech.
Keep going, keep coming.
How do you get up here? There's a UAV above you guys.
Is there?
UAV above us.
Yep, let's see it.
Target
If I
spotted.
can back up far enough.
Artillery strike online.
Okay, UAV's down. We have a
Left
cicada
torso
behind us.
critical damage.
Joker.
Good kill. Got more up top here, I think.
Target spotted.
I think I'm about to expire. The UAV was tagging me.
Target acquired.
Back to Theta, they're on
No.
Theta
Oh, no.
again. Come on.
Target destroyed.
Got Echo. Go, McFish got him. Nice. I often find I'm shooting at things that McFish kills.
Yeah.
It's like I think, oh, I got the kill, and then it
He's
says
having a good
McFish.
game. He's just everywhere.
Yeah.
He's doing it all.
Target spotted.
I think I'm killing so many things, and then he's got like 8 kills, and I've got, oh, none.
Well,
Look at that, I got
casual
8.
off to
And
I
then
got
he pipes
8
up
kills.
finally in
Kappa.
Discord with this casual thing like, yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, I had a terrible match. I only killed 4.
No. Yeah.
It's really suspicious when your kill assists match.
Did you say suspicious?
Suspicious?
Target spotted.
Yes. Matches McFish's kill count.
Oh.
The last guy, he's just running away. This is why I like game modes with objectives, is so that we don't have to just spend the entire match chasing down the last guy that's doing 200 kilometers an hour.
Target spotted.
Oh,
Yeah.
somebody found him. Oh.
Great work, guys. Good drop.
My missiles slamming into the dead bodies against the ground.
That was a good match.
Alright, Dark. That's gotta be my last one. It's
Hey,
one
me,
thing.
I'm supposed to have gone to bed an hour ago. You guys get me
Both
going, and
bad.
off I go.
Yeah. We had a good. That was some great combos today. Gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, stop. What time you play today, Doug?
Oh, Crimson Eye snuck in here while we weren't looking. Welcome.
Have we practiced this, Brian? Really? I can't remember.
5:35. I didn't get any kills. McFish got all my kills. 3.
10
Man.
kill assists. You tag just about everybody.
I say hello to everybody I can. I'm friendly when out on the battlefield. Oh my
How much damage
gosh.
did I do? 194 damage. Come on.
Well, McFish got your kill probably too. He took one from me, one from you. He might have got one on him on his own. I don't know. He probably took one of Drax's.
Well, it didn't help.
Hey, I'm glad he did, man. I had an Annihilator and a Cyclops on my ass, so have all the kills you want. Just kill them for me.
Yeah, I'm glad he's taking them. I don't care as long as we get him. Oh my gosh.
I bumped into a gargoyle at close range who was loaded down with small lasers, and then not a blood asp at the same time, and I made the mistake of
man.
poking the gargoyle and attracting attention.
All right, so we're done.
Who's Jackson's
Okay.
character, McFish? Pulp Fiction? Oh, is he in Pulp Fiction?
Are we doing one more? Or are we done?
I shouldn't. It's late. I should go to bed.
Okay.
I was just going to answer this chat real quickly. Yeah, the second half of the New Testament, Paul's letter to the early church, is evidence that barely 50 years after Jesus' death, people were already bickering over the details. Paul basically was saying, knock it off, don't forget the basics. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. And it's really supposed to be that simple. You know, you read like John, Gospel of John, and, you know, it's like so simple. Anyway, thanks for the drops, you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the chatting. And in chat, thanks for hanging out and bearing with us as we delve the depths of eternity here on Ghostlands. Don't become a witch. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, he said doubt should not kill, and we spent the last 3 hours killing Mechs. Love it.
Yeah,
Love
what's
democracy.
That's virtual. That's not.
This is
real.
virtual. But wait, Jesus said if you even think about lusting after another woman, you've already committed the sin of adultery. And if you think about murdering, isn't that the same thing? We've been killing. Oh my gosh, I need to have maybe a whole stream on just forgiveness, and we should maybe play Pikmin or something like that.
I feel like you are the pastor of the devil. That's what I'm saying. He just proves it. This game.
It might be. It might be. I need a fancier name.
Wait.
though.
Okay, so if that's how you feel about this, how do you feel about? Oh my gosh, who's that Catholic priest that plays this?
Father Bill.
Oh, Father
You
Bill.
should have been in Nutty Rat's cast yesterday. I made some great quips against him. He had this killing streak. I think he killed 6 Mechs in a row.
What? What's wrong with
And
him?
I said, well, that's it. God's definitely on the other team's side. It was just hilarious. And then I said something like, you know, Father Bill, we're all God's children in a sphere
Brios.
and clans, so your farm.
Yeah. Maybe
he had this amazing kill streak. Amazing kill
Is he a really good pilot? I never watch his stream.
No, but
he's not.
But in faction play, he I mean.
Oh.
Look, you'd have to ask Jay. I don't know him as a player well. I played against him as a practice, but see McFish. But maybe Brios could say how good he is. But he's a consistent player. Like he plays a lot.
I'm a consistent player, but that's not something I brag about.
Okay, he's a better
consistently
player
bad.
than you. He's definitely he's a better consistent player than you. But I don't know. I can't say I know how he's rated. I have no idea.
Do you think is he a better pilot than I am, Brios?
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Thanks a lot, Drax. I
Brios,
wasn't asking you.
I
think I was specifically asking Brios.
Streak in faction play yesterday on Nutty Rat's stream. He just we were dropping yesterday, and he just it was like Father Bill kills, Father Bill kills, Father Bill kills, Father Bill.
What was he
kills.
running? I want that. He was running the Holy Ghost build of something.
God was definitely on that team side.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
Jesus saves, but Father Bill kills.
T-shirts. That's great. We should do T-shirts. Jesus saves.
That's great.
Lies, but Father
hastening him into St. Peter's bosom.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's great.
That's cold.
Yeah. I think that should be his motto.
Jesus saves, but Father Bill kills.
That's so great. I've always thought it'd be fun to go over and drop with him, and we could talk shop. But we talk shop here enough, I think, already to.
He's a really nice guy.
Some people
Father
run
Bill.
away.
Like he's definitely a really nice guy.
Anyway, sends them to God before they can sin more. It's a mercy killing.
I've been in on his streams a couple of times, and he's a pretty laid back streamer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. When does he stream? During the day?
No. Well, okay. One of the streams that I caught, he was celebrating like his 5th year of being a Twitch streamer.
Oh, okay.
And he was doing a 24-hour stream. So I don't know.
That sounds painful. Streaming that long. Wow.
I'm sure it is.
I know he streams on Monday, which is typically when pastors take the day off.
Speaking of Father Bill, he's playing Elite Dangerous right now.
Oh, that I know. I saw him doing that a while ago, and he had his 3D goggles on. I'm thinking that looks kind of lame. I don't think I want to be that guy. It's like he's on the camera, he's on screen, and he's got these big goggles, and he's kind of doing this, and this is all you see while he's playing. And it's like
he's playing it 3D. He's playing it's great,
which is great, but
VR.
you don't. I feel like you're kind of removed from the people that are watching you.
I think that he could do with do the same thing with a head tracking solution.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would work.
Oh, I've done head tracking and I've done 3D, and I think 3D's. I would say 3D's better, but
Mechwarrior 5 supports
the fly screen was quite
the Oculus now, doesn't it? I think they just brought out a patch for that. Yeah, they support some sort of 3D platform.
I don't know. That's too expensive for my.
I know. I don't want to spend.
Someone gave me their Oculus, the original Oculus, when it came out. They had it, used it for a year. I was their GM in WoW, and they just said, "Did you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I was thinking of getting a newer version of it.
Yeah.
They said, "Try it out and see." And he's never asked for it back, and I keep on saying, "Man, do you want it back?" I goes, "Nah, I don't want that back," because the original ones had a big fly screen effect. They weren't. Yeah. Painful.
They'll get better. I'm not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, we'll be able to do Neuralink.
They're already better, but they're still fairly expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
5-day, I'm the same way. I know what you mean.
It's hard to sort of like validate. Like, do I get that, or do I actually get something that's
useful
in my life?
Yeah. Okay, guys, I gotta go to bed. Thanks for the drops. People in chat, thanks for wasting your time here with me. I appreciate it, and I'm sure these guys love knowing that you're watching us die, too. Right? It's an inspiration, right, Ronan and Drax? Yeah. Okay then.
I mean, I became a moderator, so.
That's right. What did you moderate tonight, by the way? Did you like pull your own weight as a moderator?
I brought your attention to the fact that you weren't streaming.
Yes, thank you. That's right. You made the stream actually get turned on.
I let you know when people were asking you questions.
That's right. Drax sometimes does that, and so it's good to have two. It probably takes twice as many anyway.
I don't get moderator status. I don't want moderator status.
I did not do that to you.
I volunteered for it, so. I'm here enough anyway. I may as well, and I always have the stream up on the other screen. So I mean, why not?
Oh my gosh! I want to know if.
Not that chat needs to be moderated very much anyway.
You're enabling Dark Marauder's laziness. That's what you're doing.
Well, but I love being
enhancing
enabled.
his stream.
That's right.
Okay.
My stream is more streamy than it was before. Big Noob, did you check out those links and let me know if you liked them? Maybe another time, because I'm going to bed. Everybody else, thanks, and this has been Ghostlands. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.
Night, Crimson.